9 o'clock on the dot this Friday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And a southern border security update right now with Jim Ryan.
The governor of the Mexican state of Coahuila says that since the beginning of November, more than 100,000 migrants have made their way through his territory on their way to the United States on Coahuila's northern border. Governor Manolo Jimenez Salinas issued a statement Thursday promising to work with local and federal agencies on both sides of the border to control the flow of asylum seekers, many of whom he says have come from Africa.
Now, right now, the highest numbers of migrants apprehended in decades. More than 12,000 Monday, 10,000 Tuesday, another 10,000 on Wednesday. Money news, the Fed's favorite inflation gauge shows prices fell month to month in November, the first decline since April of 2020. After nearly 2 years of Fed rate hikes, 11 since March of 2022, inflation has come down from the 4-decade highs it hit last year. Both of these figures released today better than expected, but Americans are still paying an extra $680 a month than was the case 2 years ago due to high prices. President Biden today pardoning marijuana use nationwide.
President Biden today announced he's commuting the sentences of 11 people currently serving what the White House says are disproportionately long sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. Due to reforms, each of these individuals would have been eligible for reduced sentences had they been sentenced today. The president's also issuing a proclamation to pardon additional marijuana offenses, including for use and possession on certain federal lands. The president said in a statement, America was founded on the principle of equal justice under law, and his administration will continue to review clemency petitions and deliver reforms.
Prosecutors in Idaho have been visiting the off-campus house where 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death last year. They're collecting final evidence before the building is torn down next week. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
.905 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Good morning, and welcome into the Chris Hand Show. Today, not only am I joined by Ken Weaver in the newsroom, Mac Morey producing, but I also have the very beautiful and talented Kennedy Hand with me.
Hello.
My 9-year-old daughter. What's up, Kay?
Nothing much.
Yeah, what's the news? What's the word on the streets?
That Trump's going to win the election.
Oh, based.
Very based.
Very based.
Great take.
I love it. It's so funny. I'm getting all these texts from family members. They're listening. I think this is the first time they've listened to my show.
Of course, because Kennedy's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
How many people are listening?
I have no idea, but a lot.
A lot. I'm sure. A bunch.
Did you want to say Merry Christmas to anybody real quick?
Merry Christmas, the Han family and the Rothwell family.
There you go.
There we go. Shout out.
I like it. She's just like quick. Like,
Yeah,
she
very
didn't-
quick, natural.
Let's just do the umbrella. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no specifics.
I love it. So,
And Clint.
Simons.
Simons, yeah.
The Simons
Simons.
family too.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah. And the McHenrys, if they're listening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got.
Of course.
we got a gang of families.
You do. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we got big families. A lot of cousins. And we're heading out after this. We're going to the beach for Christmas.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited to get the time with my family, with
Yes.
you guys, and celebrate the reason for the season, which is, of course, as you know,
Jesus.
amen.
But it's a 12-hour drive.
It's a 12-hour drive.
But that's fun. Games in the car. Games
Yeah.
in the car are fun.
Yeah,
It'll
we'll
be
do,
good.
We'll do license plate.
I was
bingo.
gonna say license plates. Nice.
License plate bingo.
Ooh, I've never played that.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go down the road, we'll look for different license plates, and then we'll have a bingo card.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah,
It's very fun.
it's fun.
You're gonna have a great time.
It's much better than an iPad. I assure you.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Far and away.
So you're excited for Christmas?
Yes.
What are you most excited about?
Probably getting to see my family.
There you
Oh, that's
go.
great.
Good answer.
Was there anything high on your Christmas list this year?
A white suitcase, as you heard in the
That's-
Three Amigos, if you were listening.
Okay.
Oh, I like the back.
Yeah, the back cell there. Wow, that's a professional back cell. Okay, what else? White suitcase. I don't know what that is. Is that just a normal?
She just wants a suitcase.
Okay, great.
She doesn't want to share with her brothers anymore.
Okay, fair.
Like-
Totally done with that. I get that.
Who wants to put their dresses next to Batman underwear?
Yeah, that's not great.
That's not based.
That's not based at all. I get that. Okay, white suitcase. Anything else?
Harry Potter books.
Oh, nice. I love those books. That's
Yes.
great. Got to get yourself a wand too at some point. But
Gotta get
step
a
by
wand.
step.
All right, Mac's like,
Yeah,
Mac's
exactly.
like adding to the list. Like, dude, bro, it's 3 days before Christmas. Chill. He's like, you know what else your dad should get you?
You know what else you need?
Yeah, I heard your dad talking about a pony. What you got? Any big plans for Christmas, Big Mac?
Family is in town. Mom's coming in town, so I'm gonna go
Yeah,
see her.
Mama Maury.
Mama Maury's
I love
here.
it.
So excited to see her. My sister's in town, so all the siblings are in town. So yeah, man, just family, friends, hanging out.
Dude, awesome.
It's gonna be awesome.
Good for you.
I'm very excited.
Very cool. Well, I'm excited to have Kennedy here.
Yeah, me
Yes.
too.
Underrated Christmas movies. 615-737-9986. What is your most underrated Christmas movie?
Me?
Yes, you.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Ooh, nice.
Yes,
Nice. It's a great one.
Now, did you get to finish that movie?
No.
Why not?
Mom turned it off in the middle of the movie when Dad left to go take out Hank.
Mom didn't like it.
No.
They thought it was inappropriate.
Oh, dang.
It was.
It was. Okay.
It
Well,
was.
I haven't seen it in a minute. It might be.
The song is fun. The movie's a little less based. All right. I had some underrated Christmas movies. I put this one on last night. Batman Returns. I know you haven't seen Batman Returns yet, but it is, in fact, a Christmas movie.
It is?
It is. The whole Batman Returns take place around Christmas.
Which one's that?
Batman Returns with Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that counts.
Yeah.
Ish.
Well, then Harry Potter
It's
1.
a stretch.
Well, then Harry Potter 1 is a Christmas movie because it takes place around Christmas.
Agreed. Based.
You guys. I'm not going to count Harry Potter 1. No.
He says Merry Christmas. Ron says Merry Christmas, Harry.
Oh, how's he say it?
Merry Christmas, Harry.
All right, save that for a hot cake. This is a movie that I think all three of us are going to agree on. This is completely underrated.
Ooh, okay.
Jingle All the Way.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Jingle All the Way is one of the best movies of all time.
So good.
Arnold Schwarzenegger
Sinbad.
running off to get a Turbo Man.
Yes, Turbo Man.
My boys got Turbo Mans last year for Christmas.
I
That
got
is-
them that. I got them it.
Yep.
Nice gift. That's awesome. That is so hype. Oh, I'd be even pumped for a
They'd watch
Turbo
it like
Man.
they'd watch it like 5 times a day.
We don't even call it Jingle All the Way in my house. We call it Turbo Man.
Can
Can we watch Turbo Man?
So that you said they watch it a lot, like multiple times. I used to do that too. That's so fun. When I was growing up, that's what I watched that every day. I loved that movie.
It's the
They
best.
watched it during Halloween.
Any season's great.
Literally.
I've been watching Christmas movies since what? June?
Yes.
Yeah, but since June. We got some people calling in. Let's go to Hank in Gallatin. You're up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Merry Christmas, Hank.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you guys, too. And Kennedy is awesome.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, sweetheart. Kennedy actually reminds me of my daughter when she was that age. Unfortunately, my daughter's 35 now, so we don't have that cuteness, but I still love her. We've got a movie that my family watches every year for Christmas, and we don't watch it unless we fix a big pot of chili and sit as a family together. And to us, it's the best, the greatest Christmas movie ever. And it's called Christmas Comes to Willow Creek.
Christmas Comes to Willow Creek. All right, I'm putting it on the list.
So that is with John Schneider and Tom Wopat, both the Dukes of Hazzard.
Okay.
They're brothers and they're truck drivers. And they're hired by one of them's boss, which is played by Hoyt Axton, well, I'm not going to tell you the movie, but you guys need to watch that. It's really, really, really good.
It's on the list, Hank. We put it on the list. Christmas Comes to Willow
Great.
Creek.
You guys check that out. And to every one of you there at the station, and you too, little Kennedy, you guys have an awesome Christmas, and I hope you have a happy New Year. And I drive for a living, actually, and I listen to your show every single day.
We appreciate
And
you,
I love
Hank.
it.
Thanks, man. We really appreciate you.
Merry Christmas, Hank.
Same to you, baby. Y'all have a great day and have a good Christmas.
Thanks,
too.
Hank. You too. Let's go to Trish next on Super Talk. What's up, Trish?
Hey, how are you?
Good. What's your underrated Christmas movie, Trish?
Well, you might not think it's a Christmas movie, but to me it is. It's Funny Farm with Chevy Chase.
Funny Farm with Chevy Chase. Is that a Christmas movie?
Yes. Yeah, you just have to watch it and see.
Okay. All right. I'll check it out. I've not seen Funny Farm with Chevy Chase.
Sounds good.
Would you recommend me watching it with Kennedy?
Yes,
Okay. All
by
right.
all means.
I'm gonna call you back if it's inappropriate, Trish.
Okay, that's quite all right. You're
right.
going to love it.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the call. Brian, you're up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Underrated Christmas movie, Brian.
Called Christmas for $1.
What is it called?
Christmas for $1.
Christmas for $1. What's it about?
Yes, sir. It's about a man. He's a widower in Depression times. He's got like 4 or 5 kids. They're all expecting, to have no Christmas, no presents, and Dad comes home with like $1 and a dime, maybe, for them to all split up and buy presents with. So it's an awesome Christmas movie. Any kids out there that open up their stuff or look at their stuff on Christmas and go, "Is this all I get?" They should definitely watch this movie because
I love it.
It will. It really sets. To me, it sets the bar way high, way high.
All right, perfect. Christmas.
It is very, very underrated. I only see it on once or twice. I do know right now you can find it on a lot of streaming, like Pluto TV, Plex TV. It's free to watch. I suggest you look it up.
Christmas for $1. It's on the list. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Brian.
Merry Christmas, Brian. I got one here. Ken Weaver may have watched this.
Okay.
Or at least part of it. Santa with Muscles.
Yes.
Santa with Muscles. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Santa with Muscles. Have you watched it yet, Ken?
Ken, you know that one?
I have not seen it all the way through yet.
Oh.
I've just seen the opening.
Ken, come on, Ken.
Oh, I'll get around to it.
Disappointing.
I've got about 4 days to go here, dude, in my soft clothes with nothing to do but watch stuff
Oh, Hulk Hogan? Okay.
and eat.
Santa with
Pennies,
muscles.
of course.
It's Hulk Hogan. Okay, he gets amnesia, thinks he's Santa Claus, saves an orphanage, fights a spaceman in a cave underneath the orphanage with laser crystals.
How have I not seen this?
It's really good.
This sounds like it was made for me. This is incredible.
My kids actually asked to watch it. Can we watch Santa with muscles?
Wow. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm in. If Kennedy's in, I'm in.
Yes.
How high would you rate Santa with muscles?
From 1 to 100, maybe like a 95.
95 out of 100.
Yeah.
It's
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. What's your favorite part from Santa with muscles?
Probably when they start fighting with like these like electric crystals,
Yeah.
because it's just like so funny because it's like
What?
it's like a man in a spacesuit and it's like he doesn't want to be touched by anyone because he's like so clean.
Yeah, he's a germaphobe.
Oh,
He's basically like an Anthony Fauci type scientist that Hulk Hogan takes to task.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
It's awesome. Let's go to John in Nashville. You're next on Super Talk.
Hey, Chris. So, unpopular opinion. Die Hard 1.
Okay, listen. This is what me and my wife had this conversation last night, and that's her pick. And I said I don't think this is an underrated pick, and she said to me she just doesn't think it's regarded highly enough as a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie, but my family disagrees.
She gave me a story last night. She said that one Christmas her older brother Roger, they asked to put in A Wonderful Life in the VHS player, and he snuck in Die Hard and thought it was very funny, and nobody else thought it was quite as funny.
Yeah, but let's not forget that it's this time is about our good Lord Jesus.
Amen.
God is good.
Amen. You're absolutely right. He's good all the time. And this is what it's about. In fact, if you don't have a church home and you need a Christmas Eve service to go to, World Outreach Church.
It's amazing.
It was good. Like, how good was that service?
I mean, it was so good. A++.
A++. Thanks for the call, John. We appreciate you. Yeah, we went to, that was Wednesday night we went to World Outreach?
Yes.
And describe what it was like.
Well, it was just like so peaceful, and like we all lit candles and we like dimmed the lights and we started singing Silent Night without any music, and it was really beautiful, and like the nativity scene was all set up with like real people, and it just really felt like the Christmas story.
That's awesome.
It was super cool. So if you don't have a church home, absolutely, Jesus is the reason for the season. Definitely go check out World Outreach Church. I think they're doing it tomorrow night and then Christmas Day, if I recall correctly. Check their website.
Tomorrow night and Christmas Eve.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it's WOCchurch.org. WOC Church. I should have been more prepped for this. WOCchurch.org, I believe, is their website. They're running commercials on Super Talk, so you'll hear them. Plus, Pastor Allen. Yep, WOC Church. I don't know if that's the right one. Nope. That's not the website. My fault. World Outreach Church, Murfreesboro. Just Google it. You'll find it. Awesome church service.
Awesome.
Jeff in Lawrenceburg, you got an underrated Christmas movie?
A Christmas Wish. It has Jimmy Durante in it.
A Christmas Wish. What's it about?
Well, they're a family living in New York down on their luck, and they live in a downstairs apartment, and a squirrel helps them get money.
All right.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's very cute. The kids will love it. It's great. It's a Christmas Wish, Jimmy Durante.
I got it on the list. Thanks, Jeff. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Jeff.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye. All right. Jeffrey in Nashville. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Jeffrey?
Hey, Chris. Good to talk to you again. Love listening to your show.
Oh, thanks, man.
2 underrated movies from the year 1994. Trapped in Paradise with Nicolas Cage, John Lovitz, and Dana Carvey. And then Mixed Nuts with Steve Martin, Rita Wilson, and Madeline Kahn.
Okay, so
if you haven't seen them, you've got to see them.
Okay.
I think I've heard of some of those.
Have you heard of that? We haven't. I don't think we've seen them.
Kennedy, baby, that came out 30 years ago. How did you?
You can see them like on.
Even seen them.
If you're like searching on like search on the Roku channel, random things just pop up.
Yes, random things do pop up.
I forget that technology is advanced this much for kids. Kind of scary.
Yeah, that's why we try to stay away from it as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I always warn you about what?
Commercials.
Yep. Yeah. Hey,
Those will
hey,
get you every time.
hey. We appreciate.
Of the two, I would say mixed nuts is my favorite.
All right, I'm putting them on the list, Jeffrey. Thanks so much, man. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Dave in Hendersonville, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Underrated Christmas movie, real quick, Dave.
How you doing there, Chris? It'd be White Christmas.
White
School.
White Christmas. All right. I have not heard that one. What's it about?
You've never seen White Christmas?
It's
No.
a musical. It's a musical. It's old school, Chris.
All right, perfect. Kennedy
You
loves
gotta watch
musicals.
It's really a good movie.
All right, perfect. We'll put it on the list. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, man.
Merry Christmas, Kennedy.
Merry Christmas, Dave.
And my wife actually texted me. She said Christmas Eve service times at World Outreach Church. They got Saturday, December 23rd, 6 p.m., Sunday, December 24th at 9:30, 1, and 3. So if you don't have a church home, we highly recommend it.
Yes.
Yes, World Outreach Church in Murfreesboro. All right, 9:21. That went by fast.
That did go by fast.
You're rocking, kid.
Thanks.
Doing so good.
Yeah, she's awesome. All right, couple other underrated Christmas movies. You got one? 615-737-9986. Hang out with us. It's the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friend Jan Whitfield. Listen, if you don't have a gift for your employees yet, nothing will make them feel appreciated or valued like a dental or vision plan. A small way to say thank you to your employees at the end of the year. And it's a great way to make sure you retain those employees who could be looking to get a new job in the new year. I mean, retaining employees is so tough right now, but having those insurance benefits really is a way to make you stand out from the crowd. And these dental and vision plans are easy, affordable, and reputable. In fact, these are some of the most popular dental and vision plans in Middle Tennessee. And it's a win-win for you, the employer, and the employee. So if you own a small business, right? Maybe you own a salon. Maybe you're a landscaper. Maybe you own a moving company. This is for you. Your employee will be eligible for benefits the day they enroll, and there is no enrollment fee. And when I said affordable, I mean it. They're priced at like $27 to $39 per month, depending on what benefits you are looking for and how many employees you're getting enrolled in the plan. Plus, you can add your spouses, you can add dependents, and orthodontics are available. Kennedy's going to be needing braces. I'm pricing those things out, and without dental insurance, it would be unaffordable. So if you don't have dental insurance, call my friend Jan Whitfield, 615-974-9655. 615-974-9655. Online, dentalplanswithjan.com.
A mysterious shooting and crash that left a man dead in Nashville. Details coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kennedy's already asking me if there's another day she's on break that she can come in and do this.
Yes.
I hope there is.
Yeah. Well, and she's going to come in there and train with you how to run the board, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Teach you how to use all the...
Why is it that you need to learn how to do that?
Because when the Chiefs lose, Mac's gonna drop out.
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's what we talked about on the way in. You gotta
that's so savage.
You got to be ready for that.
Get ready.
That's true. You hopefully don't need to be ready for that, but I'll appreciate you when you fill it. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, one way or another, there's gonna be that day. We're talking about underrated Christmas movies. Here's one: The Star. The Star is a very underrated Christmas
movie. I gotta
movie.
look that one up.
The Star is like an animated kids movie that tells the story of Jesus.
So good.
But it's like it's so smooth. We love The Star. Yeah. So that one should be a household name. Also, the 1993 Nutcracker Ballet with Macaulay Culkin in it.
So good.
That one you can get on for free on YouTube. We watch that every year.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg and Mount Juliet, you're next on Super Talk. What is your underrated Christmas movie?
Hey, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Kennedy.
Morning, Greg.
All right, here we go. How about Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd?
Okay.
How can you go wrong with those two guys?
No, that's a good one. That's a solid one. You'll watch it when you're older. Don't worry.
Okay.
Hey,
right.
Merry Christmas from a fellow Canuck, by the way.
Oh, here we go. Kennedy, can you confirm that I'm not Canadian to the audience?
He is not Canadian. He was born in Boston, y'all.
I don't know. Jury's out.
Hey, Merry Christmas, Greg. Appreciate you calling, man. All right, what else you got?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Kenny's like, why does everybody call you Canadian? It was so funny. People were roasting me on the Super Text line. If you missed the interview I had with Josh Alexander from Canada, he sounds real Canadian.
Yeah, you can tell right away.
That'll be on the best of on the 26th. We'll rerun that because it's a fascinating story. But anyway, people were texting and going, I can't tell who's who during that interview.
yeah, exactly.
Who's
just
talking?
trolling?
Who's talking? I can't tell who's who. I love it. All right, it is 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Chris Hand in studio with my lovely daughter Kennedy, and Kennedy's going to go train with Mac on how to run the board next, right after Ken Weaver's newscast, which happens now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in Nashville, a mysterious shooting and crash that left a man dead under investigation. Police say a man driving a pickup lost control on Brick Church Pike, crashed into a Taco Bell sign, went down an embankment, and stopped there in the parking lot. The driver was dead. Investigators say he may have been the victim of a shooting. In our nation's capital, the White House says President Biden and his Mexican counterpart spoke yesterday about ongoing efforts to manage the flow of illegal immigration. National Security Council official John Kirby says the president has asked Secretary of State Antony Blinken and other administration officials to travel to Mexico in the coming days to meet with President Lopez Obrador. And there's more hope that the economy can pull off a so-called soft landing of reducing inflation without dipping into recession. The latest numbers showed more good news. Consumer prices down by 0.1% last month, up 2.6% from last November. Declining fuel prices may be a factor when food and energy prices were excluded. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
If you have a 401k at work, chances are you've seen something called a target date fund. Now, the idea behind a target date fund is if you're going to retire in a specific year, let's say 2030, all you do is put all your money in that fund and you don't even have to think about it. Set it and forget it is the idea. Now, one of the things that I warn people about regarding these types of funds is many times they're not nearly as diversified as you think. When we look at investing, when we look at diversification, we want to own really small companies, really large companies, really growth-oriented, really value-oriented companies, and diversify between these different market areas. Target date funds tend to focus more attention down here for a really basic reason. It sells better. because you're investing in very big, well-known U.S. companies. What happens is investors tend to like to look like the market, as we say. And the problem, though, is when we do that is we can go very long periods of time. 1966 through 1982 is one example. More recently, 2000 through 2012, where large U.S. stocks had no return, where other market segments actually did quite well. So one of the things that happens is when we invest in a target date fund, we may be overly concentrated and have more risk than we really realize. So if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning and how we educate investors, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or you can call 615-851-1950.
.936 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Ken Weaver in the newsroom and Mac Morey producing and training the next great producer, Kennedy Hand. Kennedy's in the studio. Kennedy, how is it running the board?
Really fun.
Yeah, a lot of buttons, right?
Yes.
Are you impressed with Mac that he can do all this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too.
But I'm not surprised.
Not surprised.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Mac's a stud. He can do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's also screening all your phone calls at 615-737-9986. We were talking about underrated Christmas movies. I got a couple texts in here. Scrooge with Bill Murray. That's a good one. Gremlins. That's a good one. Somebody said Reindeer Games, but don't watch it with Kennedy. Oh, I won't. I promise. Excellent pick. If you got any other, underrated Christmas movies, send them in. 615-737-9986. I did want to talk about some actual news going on, including, what could be an early Christmas gift. We saw Trump get removed from the ballot. And now Breitbart's reporting there's an exclusive. Republicans are drafting bills to remove Joe Biden from ballots in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Pendulums, my friends, pendulums, they swing. 3 Republican state lawmakers are drafting legislation to remove Joe Biden from ballots in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. That's what Breitbart News learned today. If Biden is removed from the ballots, then he's going to have difficulty winning the Democrat primary and the presidential election. Of course, none of this will actually go through, but I do think it's a good sign that Republicans aren't completely spineless. Like, do something, please. Because to have Trump removed from the ballot is unconstitutional. He was never found guilty of inciting an insurrection. It's just the most wild thing that he's removed from the ballot in Colorado. So these state representatives, which include Aaron Bernstein out of Pennsylvania, Charlize Byrd out of Georgia, and Cory McGarr out of Arizona, they're aiming to fight back against the so-called lawfare that is being used to attack Trump. The Colorado Supreme Court, as you know, ruled Tuesday 4-3 that the United States Constitution insurrection clause blocks Trump from appearing on that state's presidential ballot. So they say we're joining forces to introduce legislation to remove Joe Biden from the ballot in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. That's what the lawmakers told Breitbart News. They say the absurdity of radical Democrat judges removing Donald Trump from the ballot in Colorado will be a stain on the American political system for decades. By their very own interpretation of the law, Joe Biden is not 100% eligible to run for political office. Democrats' insane justification to remove Trump can just as easily be applied to Biden for his insurrection at the southern border and his alleged corrupt family business dealings with China, they continued. And I'd point out, we can see the invasion happening at the southern border. And as far as the corrupt family business dealings with China, he hasn't been found guilty yet. No, the evidence is there, but Trump has not been found guilty in any court of inciting an insurrection, and he won't be because he didn't. Joe Biden, however, could be found guilty of family corrupt business practices. And you're seeing more and more evidence come out as the day goes on. In fact, it's one of the stories that has dominated 2023. Colorado radicals changed the game, and we're not going to sit quietly while they destroy our republic, said those Republicans. To be clear, our objective is to showcase the absurdity of Colorado's decision and allow all candidates to be on the ballot in all states, they wrote. To do that, we must fight back as Republicans against the communists currently running our great country. And to this, I say, good. Cheers, my friends. We do need to fight back. We can't just take this stuff willingly. And so many Republicans are spineless. And I think that these 3 standing up to just give the Dems a taste of their own medicine is great. I mean, as you know, all of us were up in arms when Colorado's Supreme Court decision came down. It was ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So we should do the exact same thing to the Dems. Texas Republicans are also threatening to take action predicated on the Biden administration's open border policies, but no action was taken. While the GOP elites are asleep at the wheel, the Democrats are very serious about destroying the American Republic. Political strategist Cliff Maloney told Breitbart News, thank God for patriots like Aaron Bernstein, Charlize Byrd, and Cory McGarr for stepping up to fight back. Yes, thank God. Somebody's got to do some fighting. Like, let's go. We just can't take all this sitting down. So I'm encouraged that these Republicans are trying to do the same thing. It's not going to actually happen. It's not going to actually stick if he is removed. But it sends a message that we're not just bending the knee. And as we go into 2024, I don't think we should be sending any Democrat the message that Republicans are going to bend the knee. Because I feel like we've sent that message far too often in 2023. So for that, I say cheers, my friends, and thank you for the early Christmas gift. You know, when I disconnect and I get to spend time with my family and, just really celebrate the Lord and Christmas, I want to disconnect. So I hope that I can disconnect with the last taste in my mouth being good news from the Republicans. Our friend Tim texted and he goes, spineless Republicans. I love it. John Rich calls them Judas Republicans. Yeah, it fits. It fits. 2227 texted in, said, the Dems are keeping their own people off the ballot. Why not keep Republicans off? Yep. 7940 said, a wish. Oh, geez. Can't read that one. Yeah, this is good news. Biggest story of 2023, Trump being removed from the ballot. At least one of them. What do you think was the biggest story from 2023? As I was digging in to what happened in 2023, I just started digging month by month. I want to know what you think is the biggest story of 2023. 615-737-9986. What was the biggest story in 2023? This is actually my last show before I get some much needed and I'm very happy to have some family time over the next week or so, and I'm not going to be back until January 2nd. So, with that being said, what were the biggest stories of the year? As I was doing my research, 3 stories jumped right to the top of my mind. Tucker's out at Fox, the missing submarine, and UFOs. And then I was like, there was more than that. So I started digging through month by month. Do you remember in January 2nd, the Damar Hamlin collapse? I know you remember that, Mac. Damar Hamlin collapsing January 2nd. That was a wild story. He collapsed from cardiac arrest after a tackle. The game was canceled. That feels like so long ago. The news cycle has been insane. Or what about the 118th Congress and the McCarthy vote? The vote that took forever. It was the first time that a House Speaker was not determined by an initial vote in over 99 years. That feels like a lifetime ago as well. January 27th, protests after the Memphis Police Department released footage of the officers beating Tyree Nichols to death. That was wild. In February, we had the Chinese balloon incident, with defense officials announcing that the suspected Chinese surveillance balloon was being tracked over the United States. They ended up shooting it down once it collected all the data it needed to. In March, we had, of course, the Covenant school shooting, which was just horrific, sad. Also in March, Trump was the first former president to ever be charged with a crime when he was indicted over hush money payments. There was many more indictments that followed, and as it showed, it didn't slow him down at all. His polling actually increased. In April, we saw the Tennessee House of Representatives expulsions with the Justins and Glojo. Do you remember that? When the Tennessee House Republicans were expelled? Gloria Johnson, Justin Jones, Justin Pearson. That was wild. Wild. 5410 said the biggest story in 2023 is the Chiefs losing and the songs I got to play for Mac.
I love those. Yeah, I'll remember those fondly. That's
Forever.
Great. Forever. We are the best team.
Go Pack.
That one was the best one. That's
that was, sure. Yeah, Midwest Polka really topped them all. You're right, 5410. Good text.
No one cared about my song that I got to play Chris on Monday? No one just...
Nah.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, what was the biggest story of 2023 for you? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. 2034 texted in. October 7th attack in Israel and the Israel-Hamas war. Yep, that's on my list too. The 2 launches of Starship, which is twice the thrust of the Saturn V rocket, the biggest rocket ever to leave Earth. A lot of people texting in, yes. The Covenant school shooting. The Covenant school shooting was the biggest story locally and absolutely a massive story nationwide. Got a few texts on that. What do you think? What were some of the biggest stories of 2023? And even more so, what are some of the biggest stories of 2023 that we feel like were memory hold and not talked about enough? I mean, I got a long list. What about the Pentagon document leaks? Do you remember when the FBI arrested Jack Teixeira, a 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard who allegedly leaked classified United States Department of Defense documents on a Discord server? He was charged with the Espionage Act. That story, I felt like, didn't get enough play, and I never quite felt like that was the whole story. A 21-year-old member of the Massachusetts Air National Guard had access to all these classified documents, and he leaked them. There was always something off about that story to me, and it felt like it got memory hold. What about Montana, also in April of 2023, becoming the first state to pass legislation banning TikTok on all personal devices from operating within state lines and barring app stores from offering TikTok for downloads? That was a crazy story. Then you had the Fox News and Dominion voting systems reaching a $787 million settlement in a defamation lawsuit, which ultimately led to Fox News firing Tucker Carlson. And then minutes later, CNN also fired Don Lemon. I mean, Carlson got fired because of because of the Dominion lawsuit. Don Lemon was fired because of numerous outlandish comments he had made in the past. May of 2023, May was pretty lame, pretty quiet, all things considered, as far as I can remember. I know DeSantis announced his presidential campaign after months of speculation, joining Nikki Haley, Ramaswamy, and RFK that had already announced to that point. I do think that the rise of Vivek Ramaswamy has been a pretty big story in general in 2023. The rise to, household name that Vivek became, big story. Big story. I mean, Vivek was like on fire, and he really ended up making a name for himself in the debates, if you recall, calling out Nikki Haley and Chris Christie, the military-industrial complex, the media. He did all those things, and he said a lot of what we all thought, a lot of the things we'd been thinking, and I thought that he was awesome in those debates. And in case you forgot what Vivek sounded like in those debates, this was Vivek during the debates in 2023 during his meteoric rise in politics.
This is really important for people to understand. We're marching towards fascism under Biden. Jack Smith has subpoenaed every last retweet that someone has issued from Donald Trump in the year 2020. The only person more fascist than the Biden regime now is Nikki Haley, who thinks the government should identify every one of those individuals with an ID. That is not freedom. That is fascism. And she should come nowhere near the levers of power, let alone the White House.
I loved it whenever a Republican gets booed at those debates. That's always such a good sign because the elite donor class were in those front seats. And Vivek got booed by those elite donors. The Republicans that can afford, not the cheap seats. But he did win people over in those debates. He won over a lot of Americans in those debates. I mean, for a long time, Vivek had the talk of, is he real? Is he a plant? He's saying kind of what we want to hear. But as time went on, he just seemed more and more sincere.
We do not need freedom of speech for Russians and Iranians and Hamas. We need social media companies to go and fight back on all of these bots that are happening. That's what I said. As a mom, do I think that social media would be more civil if we went and had people's names next to that? Yes, I do think that, because I think we've got too much cyberbullying. I think we've got child pornography and all of those things.
And Vivek called Nikki Haley out for all those lies at the debates. And when he had that comment about her not knowing 3 provinces in Ukraine, I really, truly feel like he ended her presidential hopes. Said you want to send your son and daughters to die in Ukraine, and she can't name 3 provinces. Vicious. Absolutely vicious. What do you think was the biggest story of 2023? 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Kennedy is actually screening phone calls in there as she produces the show with Mac Maury. So you can say hi to her, too, as you call in and tell us what you think the biggest story was from 2023. 2034 texted in, said, advertisers attempting to boycott Elon Musk and X. Yes. Fascinating. Fascinating story. 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Taking your calls next. Hang out with us. It's the Chris Hand Show. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at United Structural Systems, USS. As we head into 2024, you got to make sure that your house is in good order, and that includes your foundation, your crawl space, and your basement. Now, maybe you've noticed some issues on your property. Maybe you've noticed some sinkholes. Maybe you need some basement wall realignment. Maybe you need some concrete lifting, structural repair. Well, the guys at USS can do it all, and they've been doing it in Middle Tennessee since 1994. They aren't going anywhere, and that's so reassuring because if you work with a new guy in town, you have no guarantee that they'll be around if you ever have a warranty issue. You don't have to worry about that with USS because they are going to be here, and they've been here for a long time. Now, the warranty that they provide stays with your house. So if you ever move, the warranty stays put. And they have more than 25,000 satisfied customers to back them up. So if you're noticing standing water in your crawl space, wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, cracks around your foundation, call the guys at USS to check it out. 615-488-7855. 615-488-7855 or online, USSTN.com.
We got a crash, 65 southbound right before the Thompson Station Road overpass. The right lane is blocked there in Williamson County. New report shows prices did something last month that hasn't happened since early in the pandemic. Southern border security update and consumer news you need to know, especially when everyone starts making those New Year resolutions. These stories and more coming up at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mac Morey producing, Ken Weaver in the newsroom, also producing my daughter, Kennedy Hand. What's up, Kenny?
Oh,
Are you having fun in there?
yes, sir.
What are you guys, what's Mac teaching you?
How to do these thingy-mabobbers.
Yeah, the hotkeys.
Oh, you're learning hotkeys. What hotkeys have you found?
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah, you made your own, right?
Play it for him.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. So you learned how to make your own hotkey.
Yep.
If you missed it in the Amigos, Dan had said that Kennedy was talking about our ops manager gave Kennedy a Christmas card that was autographed by Taylor Swift.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, whoop whoop, right? And Dan looks at her and goes, "Do you know I'm a bit of a Swiftie myself?" And then there was an awkward pause, and Kennedy said,
Wait, hold up. Makes sense.
Nice. Good timing.
So funny. So funny. All right. So we were talking about the biggest news stories of the year. And it's not just news stories, entertainment stories. Somebody brought up Jason Aldean. Remember Try That in a Small Town? That was a big, big story, 81, 86. Jason Aldean got blackballed by the CMA, and Oliver Anthony shined through. Do you remember Oliver Anthony?
These rich men north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do, because your dollar ain't a sh- and it's taxed to no end, cause the rich men north of Richmond.
What big stories do you think were the biggest of 2023? I want your calls, your text next, 615-737-9986. It is 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kennedy, this is the time where you hit the button because Ken Weaver has the latest headlines on Super Talk.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories this Friday morning. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Well, prices actually declined for the first time since April 2020, according to data released this morning.
The Federal Reserve watches the Commerce Department's PCE index as a measure of inflation, and the latest numbers showed more good news. Consumer prices in the U.S. were down by 0.1% last month, up 2.6% from last November. Declining fuel prices may be a factor. When food and energy prices were excluded, core inflation was up by 0.1% month to month and 3.2% year to year. All of those figures, though, were better than expected.
That's Brian Clark reporting. Southern border security update. House Speaker Mike Johnson demanding the president take executive action to stem the surge of crossings, which reached record-breaking numbers this week.
The crisis at the border is only intensifying. The number of migrants crossing is reaching historic numbers, but Washington has been at a standstill, deeply divided over how to address this. House Speaker Mike Johnson sending a letter to President Biden trying to ramp up the pressure here, writing that the crisis at our southern border has deteriorated and action can no longer wait. It must start now, and it must start with you. Johnson is urging President Biden to resume construction on the border wall and reinstate the so-called Remain in Mexico policy, requiring some asylum seekers to be sent back to Mexico during immigration proceedings.
That's Rachel Scott reporting. Consumer news you need to know, especially when everyone starts making those New Year resolutions soon. Lionel Moise.
A warning from the Food and Drug Administration about fake weight loss drugs. The FDA says it seized thousands of units of counterfeit semaglutide, which is the active ingredient in popular medications used for weight loss like Ozempic and Wegovy. At least 5 adverse events have been reported, but the FDA says they were not serious and are consistent with known reactions to authentic Ozempic, including nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, and constipation.
That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, joined in studio by the wonderful co-host Kennedy Hand. Hello, Kennedy.
Hello.
What did you think about running the board and working with Mac in there?
It was really fun.
Yeah?
Mhm.
What was your favorite part about it?
Probably making them make sense.
Hotkey?
Hotkey, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, Kennedy has her own hotkey now, and it says "make sense." So get ready to hear that. We're gonna play that one as much as we play the Mike Pence. I don't know. Ready? Hit it for me one time, Mason.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's the new hotkey. Makes sense.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, there was some classic Biden ramblings from this past year. So we're going to be using that makes sense a lot. Like you know, remember when Biden told people to paint their roofs white? Do you remember that?
Well, it's not going to alleviate the heat problem right now. But we also have a number of programs to do everything from allow people to have the ability to get help to literally paint their roofs white.
Yeah, he was gonna have people paint the roofs white to fight climate change. That would be like a perfect opportunity to use the new hotkey.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Paint the roofs white.
We're gonna get some use out of that one, kid. I promise you.
Okay.
Because you know Biden. I don't know if you know this. He's always rambling. Did you know that?
Me?
Yeah, you.
No.
You didn't know he's always rambling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's always rambling. He's always saying something. I mean, he's done it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's one of the bigger stories from 2023. We also got a text here from 1137. The Bud Light and Target boycotts. That was a big story from 2023. Conservatives taking action in boycotting Target and Bud Light. And it worked. It worked. I mean, Bud Light had to reinvest in UFC, which is interesting because when the Bud Light boycott started, Modelo went to the #1 beer, and Modelo at that time was the beer sponsor of the UFC.
Oh, interesting.
So it makes sense why they would invest, $100 million in UFC.
Yeah, absolutely. Understandable.
Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Anthony in Gallatin, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Anthony? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Chris. Nice to talk to you. Mac, how you doing in there? Kennedy, I hope you're keeping Papa Chris in line.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally the biggest story is this Donald Trump getting banned from the ballot in Colorado.
Yes.
It's just revealing more and more behind the big curtain of what the idea of what the radical left wants, and that's really just to infringe on our rights. And I actually have family that lives in Colorado, and they had said something about it, and my sister-in-law that lives out there was saying like, oh, we'll just write him in. And I read the legislation myself, and I was like, hey, so here's this little piece in here saying that they're not going to allow write-ins. And she's like, that's not legal. And I was like, yeah, that's why it's not going to stand. But just so you guys know, that's where your guys' state stands, and that's what the true idea and agenda of the Democrats is. So,
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest story because, it's just infringing more and more on our rights, and it's ridiculous.
Well, it seems like the biggest goal of them is to get Trump out of the way by any means necessary. And you've seen it with the indictments, but that didn't work. His polling went up. Now you see it in Colorado, and that's not going to work. The Supreme Court will overturn it. I'm fully confident in that. And you're also seeing now Republicans swinging back, drafting bills to remove Joe Biden from ballots in Georgia, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. So even as all this is happening, there is hope, and I don't think it's going to stand at all.
Right. Well, and on top of it too, it's like, love or hate Trump, and me personally, I think the people that don't like Trump it's completely emotionally charged. Don't get me wrong, like as a person, is Trump the light of life? Not really. He's kind of rude. He can be rude. He can say offensive things, whatever. But that it doesn't offend me personally. I personally don't care. I find a lot of humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love him or hate him as a person, he shouldn't be taken off a ballot over nothing, essentially, because you can be charged with anything in this country, but until you are convicted, you are innocent until proven guilty. And unfortunately, this country, there's a lot of things out there where it's guilty until proven innocent anymore. It's just exposing more of the two-tier justice system that we have as well.
They've successfully weaponized the accusation, where the accusation
100%.
Makes you guilty now.
Right. Well, and I mean, again, here in this country, you can accuse anybody of anything, but until you are convicted by 12 jurors of your peers, you are innocent.
Yep. Amen. Hey, I appreciate the call, Anthony. Thanks so much. Yeah, that is a big story. Taking Trump off the ballot is a big story. I feel like at times we have recency bias, though, because that's what's happened recently. Another big story would be Hunter Biden being indicted, the president's son being indicted. Massive story. Is that bigger than the Trump indictments? Probably not. Is that bigger than Trump being removed from the ballot? Probably not. But it's like this year has been a whirlwind, an absolute whirlwind. Let's go to Tyler in Nashville. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on, Tyler?
What's up, Chris?
What's
you
up?
Got me fired up this morning.
Hey, man, I'm trying.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
No, I was calling in because some of the legislation, things that you were talking about reminded me of some of the things that I work on, which is with lawn tools and reviewing lawn tools and things like that. And for better or for worse, guys, I think the days of gasoline-powered lawn tools and small engines are on their way out.
Yeah, it's
you see it in California, you see it even in Texas, which I never would have thought, but passing legislation to ban all new sales of gas-powered lawn tools. So it's just getting crazy. But
and they are trying to ban that. So it's just insane. It's insane. And you said you work with lawn tools?
Yeah. I have a YouTube channel and a website where I review all sorts of types of lawn tools. Sorry, and I honestly have had to niche down in that electric space just because, looking at the industry, it's going electric. And I mean, if you drew my blood 2 years ago, it'd be 99% gasoline. I would have never said this, but some of the new stuff that's coming out is actually pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know that we really have a choice in about 5 to 10 years. It's going to be electric.
That's crazy. And you said you have a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel?
It's called The Lawn Review.
Okay, cool.
Same deal with the website. Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
But,
so you review all this stuff, and now you're saying that basically the industry is just shifting towards electric because of all this legislation.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest player in the game, Honda. I mean, your grandfather, your great grandfather used a Honda mower.
Yep.
And they've just completely exited the industry. They're not even building their gas-powered lawn tools anymore. So they're out. Yeah.
Like they're not even making new ones?
No, that'd be like Ford going and saying, we see this as what, they've done like the Ford Lightning and stuff like that. But that'd be like them saying, you know what, we see the writing on the wall, can't compete, we're done.
Yeah, that's insane.
At least in the lawn tool space. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, dude, that's wild. What's your YouTube channel one more time?
It's called The Lawn Review.
The Lawn Review? Cool, man. I'll check it out. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah. One quick thing real quick.
Yeah.
I am Ellie Brannon's uncle, who's friends with Kennedy.
Oh.
And Ellie wanted to say hello.
Oh.
And Merry Christmas.
Tell Ellie I said Merry Christmas.
Okay, well, hit that button for me.
All right. We'll hit make sense for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
What was your lawn review thing again? One more time?
It's called The Lawn Review.
Okay.
Or thelawnreview.com.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
hey, thanks.
A whole bunch of fun challenges.
Perfect. I love it, man. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you. Yeah, cool. It's Ellie's uncle.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
Mm-hmm.
Ron in Hillsboro, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's the biggest story of 2023, Ron?
Kennedy.
Kennedy's the biggest story of 2023.
you wouldn't believe the people that I know that listen to your show that is talking about Kennedy. You want to know Does she have followers yet? Does she have a Facebook page? Is she blogging all kinds of questions? I said, I have no idea. I will call and ask Chris.
Kennedy, do I let you on social media?
No.
Hey, smart move, Daddy. Smart move.
But we try to limit the internet as much as possible, don't we?
Definitely.
Yes. You're a good dad. Well, listen, I love the show. Listen to it every day. And you're a real addition to the show, and I just want to thank you for everything you do for the Lord.
I appreciate you, man. God bless you. Have a great Christmas celebrating Jesus. We appreciate you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Kennedy.
Well, that was nice. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you. You got fans.
I do. Makes sense.
They make sense, right? You got tons of fans. I would go back to what your friend's uncle was saying, his lawn review thing about climate change. Climate change has been a big story this year. You know, they've been trying to push everybody to electric, and they even tried to blame the Maui wildfires on climate change. Do you remember that? The Maui wildfires? Yeah, it was climate change. Wildfires.
Yeah, the sun reaching out towards us, breaking through the ozone and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the fires.
I mean, that was a big story. Well, the wildfires were climate change.
Experts warn that extreme disasters such as this one are only becoming more common because climate change is fueling stronger storms, hotter temperatures, more widespread droughts. And earlier this week, President Biden incorrectly claimed he had already declared a climate emergency, which would give him additional powers to combat the climate crisis.
Oh, yeah. Declare a climate emergency, please. Let's save something for 2024, right?
Yeah, we've already had, aliens, fires.
Oh, yeah, the aliens. We haven't even gotten to aliens.
What?
Yeah, aliens. They've been talking about aliens.
Do people not know that aliens aren't real?
This is what I'm saying.
Well, if they're talking about Joe Biden as an alien.
Yeah, well, Joe Biden lets in plenty of aliens.
Ooh, very true. Very true.
Very true. I mean,
those aliens.
Those aliens. Yes, the illegal aliens.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes. Yikes is right. You know, but a lot of people have been pushing climate change. Aliens is a big story. But what is the biggest story for you for 2023? 615-737-9986. I got a text here from 9360. To me, as a teacher, one of the biggest stories is removing 2/3 of Tennessee-related standards from middle school history. Why do we keep interfering with learning? How do politicians know more about the classroom and students than teachers? I'm tired of the government telling us how to do our job. They obviously aren't very good at it since our scores continue to drop and our children continue to become illiterate. What's the 2/3? I can't recall that story off the top of my head. 2/3 of standards?
I'm not sure. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, Google that. And feel free to call in 9360. I'd love to chat. 0397 said, that hotkey of yours, the make sense, is going to be priceless.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. 8320 said, the biggest story is finding out that Dan is a Swiftie.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. If you missed it earlier on the Amigos, we were talking about our favorite Christmas gifts. And what was yours before you got that from Charlie?
My dog.
Yeah, we got a chocolate lab. He's a North Pole chocolate lab, Hank, a couple years back. And he was going to say that was her favorite card. But Charlie, the ops manager, Kennedy was walking by his office and saw a Taylor Swift Christmas card in the window.
Yes.
And what did you say?
I just asked if I could hold it, and he was like, "You can have it," and I was like, "What?" And apparently his daughter knows Taylor Swift.
Yeah, his daughters have met Taylor Swift.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
And he said if there's any other Taylor Swift stuff that he would give it to me.
Yeah, he was looking. He's a great guy. He's like, I thought that I was going to be the cool dad today.
No. Charlie got you beat?
Charlie beat me like 10 minutes into the station. We weren't here longer than 10 minutes, and Charlie immediately became the coolest guy in the room.
Makes sense.
Makes sense. Oh, I love that we have that as a hotkey.
So good.
So funny.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. Everybody's saying Merry Christmas, Kennedy, on the super text line.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yes, we're so excited. We're heading to the beach after this. This is my last show before we get into the Christmas break. And I'm so excited to have time with my family and spend time with the Lord and, really celebrate this Christmas season. I don't want anybody to forget the reason for the season. It is Jesus Christ, and that's my Lord and Savior. And I hope if you don't have a relationship that you get one with Jesus, because it's awesome. You have a relationship with Jesus, right?
I do.
What's the most important thing about that for you?
Well, it just takes a lot off of your back because, like, you're always carrying sin around. And when you have a relationship with him, he forgives you of all your sins. And so if you ask for forgiveness, he can just let all of that to go.
I love it. You're awesome. Thank you for being here, Kennedy. I really appreciate you. I couldn't have a better co-host than Kennedy Hand, and I'm so happy to have her here. Biggest story from 2023, 615-737-9986. A lot of people saying spy balloons.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people saying spy balloons. That was a big one.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit of a big balloon there.
Yep. Brian in McMinnville said the fact that Biden cured cancer should be number one on the list. Do you remember when he said that? Biden cured cancer?
Oh, boy, yeah.
That was a funny day.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't. It was just a Biden thing. Weird. Steve in the Borough on your biggest story of 2023. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how you doing, Chris?
What's going on, man? What's the biggest story in 2023?
Well, I just want to comment on one of the biggest stories that didn't get any airplay was Mac Morey trying to convince you that Kansas City, Kansas was better than Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes.
I grew up in Kansas City on the Missouri side, and we were there first. We have all the professional teams. Kansas City, Kansas is Wyandotte County, which is like Davidson County, but only poorer. So Kansas City, Kansas, not so much. Now, Johnson County, where all the rich people live, that's in Kansas, but that's not Kansas City.
Good to know. I will make sure to give Mac the business when he gets back. You know,
Alrighty.
I will say this about Mac, and thank you for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. Mac is such a good guy. He was all set to do behind the scenes work today, and then he found out Kennedy was coming in, and he's like, "Well, I got a trainer on the board."
Mm-hmm.
Like that was Mac's
So much
idea.
fun.
Yeah, and you learned a lot back there.
Yes.
What do you think about that job?
I would want to do it.
Yeah, you'd want to do that.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Well, when the Chiefs lose in the playoffs, Mac is going to call out.
Yep,
So
I'm
we're
in.
going to need you to step up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
if Mac was here right now, I feel like he would just tell me don't with his best Joe Biden voice. Don't.
Don't. I know what you're doing.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It's 10:22 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We got more on the way. Hang out with us. It's the Chris Hand Show, starring my daughter, Kennedy Hand, on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love the state of Tennessee. I love everything about it, and I love hunting and fishing in the state of Tennessee, and what you guys do is so great. I was born and raised here, and this song is for Tennessee and everybody in it. Well, I have roamed across the land, and I have sailed deepest sea. When I've drawn my last breath, do this one thing for me. Say, won't you take me back to Tennessee, where southern streams are flowing free. Mine, Lord, will always be right at home in Tennessee, right at home in the woods of Tennessee, right at home in Tennessee. Awesome.
Got a crash in Bellevue, Highway 70 South, just east of Sawyer Brown Road. Then looks like an injury crash, Old Hickory Boulevard at Granville Boulevard. President Biden making a move affecting thousands in this country who have used marijuana. Details at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. As we head into the holiday, I have a very special co-host with me this morning. I almost said afternoon. Kennedy, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Nothing much. You having a good time here at Super Talk?
Yes.
Well, we're talking about the biggest stories of 2023. What do you think is the biggest story of 2023?
That someone just texted in and said, Cars for Kids is not a good commercial.
That's the biggest story for you?
It's very disappointing. Me and my brother sing that every day to school.
That's your favorite commercial on the station, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one and We Buy Any Car.
Yeah, they love it. They literally sing it.
Whoever just texted that in, I'm very disappointed in you.
Very disappointed.
Very.
That's amazing. I love that.
She loves that commercial. They all love the commercial.
Love that commercial.
I was like, they're great. They get stuck in my head all the time, so it's totally understandable.
I'll catch my 4-year-old singing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I love how you're already disappointed in the audience.
I'm like, a couple people texted me about that. I'm very upset.
Yeah, very upset. You've upset a 9-year-old.
Yes. Don't make me cry.
For shame.
Don't make Kennedy cry. 4868 says the Cars for Kids commercial actually sounds like Kennedy is singing it.
Oh, okay.
Kennedy has a very good singing voice.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
She asked me, she's like, can I turn on the mic and sing with the Cars for Kids commercial? I said, no, we can't sing over the commercials, hon. It's like, all right.
Sadly.
8064 texted and said, so easy you can do it in your underwear with a crying laughing face.
Oh my gosh.
It's so good. Rick texted in and said, I'm sorry I disappointed you, Kennedy. I'll strive to do better.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's always 2024, Rick.
Yeah, thank you, Rick.
Yep. It's, Sean said the biggest story of 2023 is that birds may not be real.
The drones.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's an internet rumor that birds aren't real. Have you heard this?
No.
It's popular amongst the kids.
Yeah, they all charge on the telephone wires when they're sitting outside during the day.
Oh.
It's this rumor.
I don't know.
Back in the day, when we were spying on the Russians, which we still do. You know, full disclosure. There was a CIA project where they took a bird that had passed away, and they strapped a motor to it and a camera and used it to spy on the Russians.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. So it's a real story. It actually happened.
That was intense music.
That was intense music.
It's intense music for an intense topic.
Mm-hmm.
They're not real.
6902
Changed my life.
6902 said the biggest story of 2023 was the fact that we had to fact check snow. So, all right, you were. I know you don't listen to the show because you're in school.
No.
I asked Mac to fact check something, which was like I heard the tail end of the weather report and it said we could have snow over the weekend, and I said fact check that, Mac, like meaning like see if it's going to snow, and Mac fact checked if snow was real for me. I know.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Mac.
Good way to go, Mac. We love it. All right, 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver and the latest headlines on Super Talk.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And right now in our nation's capital, President Joe Biden making a move affecting thousands who use marijuana. He issued a proclamation making people convicted of use and simple possession of pot on federal lands and in the District of Columbia eligible for pardons. This could help them get jobs, housing, and educational opportunities. Crisis at the border. House Speaker Mike Johnson demanding the president take executive action to stem the surge of crossings, which reached record-breaking numbers this week. And in money news, an index closely watched by the Federal Reserve shows easing inflation. The Commerce Department's report showed consumer prices were down by 0.1 percentage point last month and were up a little more than 2.5% from the year prior. Both of these figures better than expected as inflation continues to go down from last year's highs. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
I love the state of Tennessee. I love everything about it, and I love hunting and fishing in the state of Tennessee, and what you guys do is so great. I was born and raised here, and this song is for Tennessee and everybody in it. Well, I have roamed across the land, and I have sailed deepest sea. When I've drawn my last breath, do this one thing for me. Say, won't you take me back to Tennessee, where southern streams are flowing free. Me and mine, Lord, will always be right at home in Tennessee. Right at home in the woods of Tennessee. Right at home in Tennessee. Awesome.
To any country, any organization, anyone thinking of taking advantage of this situation, I have one word: don't.
That was the president with his one-word warning in 2023. Don't. That was a big story.
The biggest in the world.
Don't.
Does that strike fear into your heart?
The biggest.
Don't.
It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, joined by Kennedy Hand. My 9-year-old daughter turns 10. You got 5 days left in the single digits, kid.
5 days.
She's 10 on the 27th. Do you have any big plans for your last days in the single digits?
Eating all the cake and ice cream.
All right. Yeah. Perfect. We're still getting texts from the Cars for Kids commercial stuff.
Okay, so I'm going to start.
Anthony texted in. He said, Kennedy, here's the life lesson. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I stand firm in not enjoying the commercial.
You don't have any sense of humor.
It's a great song. Your friend texted in, too.
Yeah, and she was like, her name is Hope, and she said that she enjoyed the Cars for Kids song, so in your face.
Oh, jeez. Don't be rude now.
Bad Anthony.
Yeah, we love the Cars for Kids song.
Yeah.
3076.
Who doesn't?
Preteen time. Yep. You're about to be a preteen.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting. We're wrapping up 2023. This is my last show of 2023 before I head into, family time, Jesus time, Christmas time. Very excited. But we want to talk about the biggest stories from 2023. Let's go to Lieutenant McFadden, our friend in New Jersey. He calls a bunch. We like this guy. He wants to talk about the monuments. What's up?
Hey, Chris. Merry Christmas, Kennedy.
Merry Christmas.
They're tearing down the Reconciliation Monument in Arlington Cemetery. Does that show that there's no more reconciliation in this country?
It is shocking to me that they're tearing down that statue. Not that they're tearing it. It's torn down now. It's gone.
Wow. Look at all the throughout the South, all the statues that have been toppled, changing the names of military bases.
Yep.
They're wiping out our history.
And it's like if you can't remember history, you're going to be doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, and the reconciliation, it meant that our country forgot about what separated us and brought us back to what we were.
Amen.
And now they want to separate us again.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about division. It's all about division.
I think your buddy Jesse Kelly put it right. This communists who masquerade as the Democratic Party is destroying our country, Chris.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and it's shocking to see it happen and unfold in real time, but it's very Orwellian the way that they're erasing history.
Yeah. And we, this is a shared history, good, bad, or other.
Yep.
I mean, even in the North, they're tearing down statues of Revolutionary War heroes who created this nation.
Well, and in Charlottesville, Virginia, they took down a statue of Sacagawea.
My God.
It's shocking, Statues of Thomas Jefferson being removed. What? What are we doing?
Yep. They want to destroy Christopher Columbus statues. George Washington has gone. Even they've torn down statues of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass.
It's crazy. No,
but they're putting up ones to George Floyd.
Yep. Oh, I know. And it's like the more info that comes out on that, it's like, why did we celebrate this guy?
He was a career criminal and a drug addict.
Yep. You're absolutely right. Hey, thanks for the call, Lieutenant McFadden. We appreciate you, man. Let's go to Myrtle in Dixon County on the biggest story of 2023. What's up, Myrtle?
Hey, happy birthday to your daughter. My daughter's birthday is next week also, the 27th.
Oh, same day.
Wow.
Yeah, she lives in Charlottesville with her husband and got two fine young grandsons for me, 12 years old and 9.
Oh, man, you're a blessed man.
Tell her I said happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think you're doing a great job. Dan Mandis needs to be worried. Anyway, I think the Bud Light demise is the biggest story, but I got a question. How can Modelo be number one? Is there that many immigrants here now?
Well, I think it was just everybody kind of switching brands, and Modelo was the biggest beer sponsor of the UFC. And I think when everybody kind of turned away, they said, well, where do we go? What's the alternative? And that was kind of the first brand a lot of the male demographic kind of clung to because it was kind of right there in front and center.
Yeah, beer's like over 90% water, so they could just drink water.
Yeah, hey, fair enough. That's what I do. I don't drink any of that stuff. I stick to the water myself.
Okay, well, thank you. Man, you're the best. Take care now.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Have a great Christmas. God bless you. All right, let's go to James in Nashville next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. James, what's the biggest story of 2023?
I think one of the biggest stories nobody talks about very much is the lack of fight in our Republicans, just like Trump being taken off the ballot, other than you saying something this morning about the 2 or 3 that they're fighting. Our representatives and our senators just sit on their rear ends and don't. Other than come on the radio once in a while and whine and complain like we do, you never hear them actually getting out and fighting and doing something. They just let, Democrats run over them and just, this is not right. They shouldn't do this. And
Yep. It's seeing the lack of fight from Republicans this year was an eye opener. But was any of us really surprised in the beginning that there was no fight in the first place?
No, but just like all these fans of Nikki Haley, she immediately caved in. Y'all were talking about the statues coming down, the flags wanting to change, name changes of the sports teams and stuff. She immediately caved to the Democrats on all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would vote for her if she's the only one left that she runs, but that's the only way.
I don't know if I could, if she's the only one left, I don't know if I could bring myself to vote for her. I'll be perfectly honest, and that might upset some people, but she just seems like such an establishment con and just.
That's what she is. You might as well be voting for Mitt Romney or Mitch McConnell, any of those elite Republicans. That's what she is.
Yeah.
Vivek, I think, calls her out exactly what she is.
No, I think you're right, and it's like thankfully we do have people calling this out. Thankfully, we do have a lot of thought leaders in the movement that can see this because just a few years ago, I don't know if we would have had this many eyeballs on this looking at it in this kind of light.
Yeah. Oh, and I've got a question. Is Kennedy homeschooled?
No, Kennedy goes to a private Christian school in Murfreesboro. It's tough. We cut corners to make it happen, but I think that getting a Christian foundation is important to us.
Very important.
If I had small children anymore, there's no way if I had to live in a trailer that I would send my kid to a public school.
But it's a government school. We need to stop calling them public schools. They're government schools.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, man.
I've been so impressed listening to her and her testimony for Jesus. That was precious.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. And a lot of credit. It really, I give a lot of credit to her mom, and we're really grateful for the school that she has that helps build that foundation for her. Because you have a foundation in Jesus, and I think that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's no way that she goes to a public school.
No, and I would, if I had to, I would be bagging groceries and working overnight stocking shelves to make it happen as well.
Hey, amen.
Hey.
Well, y'all have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Enjoy your time off, and Kennedy, I really enjoyed listening to you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
All right.
Merry
Bye-bye.
Christmas, James. God bless. Appreciate you, man. I do think that your testimony as a Christian is pretty powerful. Why did you decide to come to Jesus?
Well, as I said earlier, because when you're carrying around that sin, it doesn't feel good, but when you put your life in Jesus, he takes all the sin away.
Love it. Love it. And you got baptized a little while back, a couple years back, right?
Yeah.
Why did you decide to get baptized?
Because I wanted to give my life to Jesus.
Love it. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm so proud of my daughter. So proud.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate you. Thanks for coming in today.
No problem.
Biggest stories of 2023 before I get all teary-eyed. What do you think they are? 615-737-9986. I have a list. I got a list before I get choked up. Kevin McCarthy being ousted as Speaker of the House. That was a big story.
Oh, yeah. I worked that whole, whole saga, I guess, if you want to call it that. I was here popping on different shows, hearing everybody's point of view and whatnot. That was a
And conservatives were divided on that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even on the station, everybody had a different opinion, which what? And I don't want to it's not like a knock. I think that's good. Like, I think it's good that on the conservative side, we don't have to do groupthink and we're allowed to disagree with each other and then still find a way to pull the same direction. Murphy said this to me before, and I loved it when he said it to me. He's like, Hand, me and you, we're driving in the same direction, but we have different cars. And I think that's such a great way to put it. And I've been blessed to have Murphy as, kind of like a mentor and, guy to bounce ideas off of since I've been here. Same with Dan. And a lot of people are texting in saying, and it's so nice. They're saying that Chris Hand joining Super Talk was a big story in 2023. And this was the biggest thing for me in 23 was being able to get on this station. And it's changed a lot of our lives. So, I mean, we almost moved to Arizona.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I had gotten a job at Turning Point USA. We almost picked up the family, moved to Arizona. You guys were great with that. Like, you kind of were disappointed at first. Then you were like, okay, it's a new adventure. Mm-hmm. And then I told you we weren't moving anymore.
No, that was funny.
That was wild. Do you remember how you felt when I told you we weren't moving anymore?
People started crying. People started laughing. People started cheering. It was a lot of emotions.
It was a lot of emotions. Mm-hmm. It's been a wild year for us. So we're happy to be here and grateful that you guys enjoy the show and that you're, part of this. Because I say it all the time. You guys on the phone lines and the super text line, you're such a big part of my show, and I don't ever want it to feel any different than that. You guys are the most important part of the show. Let's go to Drew in Franklin. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What is the biggest story of 2023 to you, Drew?
I hope nobody's mentioned it yet. They probably have. But the biggest story to me is the attack on Israel, which didn't shock me. But what did shock me was the reaction here. That's the biggest story to me, is that so many people here support those atrocities that happened there. It's like the Fourth Reich in some of the universities. And that, I mean, I'm politically astute. I pay a lot of attention, and that caught me by surprise.
Yeah, no, it was pretty shocking. Were you shocked though at the fact that it even went down in the first place? A lot of conservatives, myself included, I was shocked that there wasn't a quicker response time from Israel and their defense forces. Did that shock you at all?
It didn't shock me. I don't know a lot about how that works. You know what I mean? It's kind of a gray area in my mind about how quickly it happened.
Well, it's one of the most. It's probably the most defended border in the world, and Israel's the size of a small state here. It's like the size of New Jersey.
I lost you a little bit. Well, considering how many people were at that festival.
Oh, we lost Drew. Drew, hey, Drew, you're breaking up a bit, man. Call back if you get a little bit of better service, and I'll put you to the front of the line. Let's go to Derek in Cookeville. You're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's the biggest story of the year for you, Derek?
Well, for me, kind of a personal thing, but it's the going-ons about the security clearances of a lot of these elected officials and people in the government, doing just everything they can and maintaining a clearance. I worked for 15 years in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, dismantling the old gaseous diffusion parts of the uranium enrichment program over there. And just to drive a garbage truck, it took me 3 years to obtain a Q clearance.
Really?
They spoke to everyone I knew, every family member that I had, every neighbor I had, anybody that was brought up in a conversation they were interviewing that was contacted me was ran and interviewed. Any of those people could have said anything, and I couldn't have defended myself, and I would have been out of way of making a living. Even after you get your Q clearance, you can't be treated for mental illness, take any kind of antidepressants or anything else. At that time, it may have changed now, but it's just such a rule for thee and not for me situation, and it's just totally unfair for people trying to make a living.
Yeah, that does sound wild, and I appreciate you sharing the story. I've never heard anything like that. So thanks for sharing that with me, Derek. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Chris. Bye.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. 1313 texted in and said, if I could group it all up into one thing, he said, I'd say the biggest thing was and is Joe Biden's screw-ups.
Don't.
Oh, sorry. 1052 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's the Chris Hand Show. My wonderful co-host is here, Kennedy. We're just hanging out, talking about the biggest stories of the year.
Yes.
If you want to share what you think is the biggest story of the year, call us 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I mean, it's cold out here, and if you haven't done it yet, it's time to get your system serviced, because as your heat starts cranking as it gets colder, you don't want to find out the hard way that you have an issue with it. So get it serviced the best way, the Busy Bee way. With Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, you definitely don't want to wait for a problem to pop up this time of year. So be proactive. Keep your unit in tip-top shape, tippy-toppy shape. Whether you need annual maintenance, repair, or a replacement plumbing, heating, or air system, call who I trust, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You're not going to find a better value on replacement systems if you do need to replace it. They offer up to 12 months, no payment, no interest with approved credit, and it pays in so many ways to sign up for the annual maintenance on your plumbing, heating, and air systems from Busy Bee. Plus, for added rewards and savings, you can sign up to be a Beehive member. My wife loves being a Beehive member because you get that thorough annual maintenance on your plumbing, heating, and air systems with no overtime charges, 24/7, and 10% off all repairs. Plus, remember, they have convenient Saturday availability for those maintenance calls because, as you know, conservatives do tend to work. So if you need to be there for a maintenance call, it helps to be able to do it on Saturday so you'll never be left out in the cold. Busy Bee, they're your Rude Pro partner. For satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, 615-775-7833. That's 615-775-7833, or online at busybehvac.com.
If you have a 401k at work, chances are you've seen something called a target date fund. Now, the idea behind a target date fund is if you're going to retire in a specific year, let's say 2030, all you do is put all your money in that fund and you don't even have to think about it. Set it and forget it is the idea. Now, one of the things that I warn people about regarding these types of funds is many times they're not nearly as diversified as you think. When we look at investing, when we look at diversification, we want to own really small companies, really large companies, really growth-oriented, really value-oriented companies, and diversify between these different market areas. Target date funds tend to focus more attention down here for a really basic reason. It sells better. Because you're investing in very big, well-known U.S. companies, what happens is investors tend to like to look like the market, as we say. And the problem, though, is when we do that is we can go very long periods of time. 1966 through 1982 is one example. More recently, 2000 through 2012, where large U.S. stocks had no return, where other market segments actually did quite well. So one of the things that happens is when we invest in a target date fund, we may be overly concentrated and have more risk than we really realize. So if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning and how we educate investors, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or you can call 615-851-1950.
Got an injury crash in Bellevue. It is Highway 70 South, just east of Sawyer Brown Road, and then Old Hickory Boulevard at Granville Boulevard. Shopping delays. Guess where? Right around Opry Mills, Briley Parkway, northbound off-ramp to westbound Opry Mills. That is quite the delay now. President Biden making a move, removing barriers to employment, housing, and education for thousands of Americans. Southern border security update, inflation update, and Florida State making it known it wants out of the ACC. These stories and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. This is the Kennedy Hand Show on 99.7 WTN.
Very good, very good. That's Kennedy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, my wonderful co-host for the day. You're already trying to take over the show?
I was about to say, she's going to take your job soon.
They took my job. Yes. If anybody would take my job, I'd be happy if it was her.
Yes.
Yeah, we're banking on you, kid. You got to make it big. Mom and Dad are looking for that nice retirement home, okay?
Okay.
All right, deal. I got a text here from 3514 said the biggest story of the year is Biden saying we got a biddle from the middle. Did you hear that yesterday?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Oh, this is Joe Biden yesterday.
We're doing it by building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not the top down. Not a whole lot trickle down on my dad's kitchen table when the top down economy. But when you when you increase the middle class, the poor have a shot and the wealthy still do very well.
When you middle from the middle, baby.
Middle from the middle.
Just sounds like someone's
That's probably a good interpretation of what his speechwriters do.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, let's come up with something for him.
See what, see what autocorrect and voice to text takes for that.
When you middle from the middle, the poor still have a shot. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. Right now in our nation's capital, relief on the way for thousands who may have got caught using marijuana on federal property.
President Biden today announced he's commuting the sentences of 11 people currently serving what the White House says are disproportionately long sentences for nonviolent drug offenses. Due to reforms, each of these individuals would have been eligible for reduced sentences had they been sentenced today. The president's also issuing a proclamation to pardon additional marijuana offenses, including for use and possession on certain federal lands. The president said in a statement, America was founded on the principle of equal justice under law, and his administration will continue to review clemency petitions and deliver reforms.
Yeah, this could remove barriers to get jobs, housing, and educational opportunities for thousands of Americans. Southern border security update. House Speaker Mike Johnson demanding Biden take executive action to stem the surge of crossings, which reached record-breaking numbers this week. But it seems the White House just wants to do more talking.
The president has said there's not much more he can do with the U.S.-Mexican border. Without more money and law changes, only Congress can approve. Until then,
President Biden has asked Secretary of State Tony Blinken, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas, and White House Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood Randall to travel to Mexico in coming days.
National Security spokesman John Kirby says fixing the border is the president's priority.
That's Andy Field reporting. Today's report from the Commerce Department shows consumer prices declined 0.1% last month from October, rose 2.6% from November of 2022. This month-over-month drop, the largest since April 2020, when the economy was reeling from the COVID-19 pandemic. Turning to sports, Florida State's filed a lawsuit after getting snubbed for the college football playoff. This lawsuit seeks to remove the $500 million penalty for seeking to withdraw from the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, this is actually the Kennedy Can Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's the Kennedy Ann Show today. My daughter, Kennedy, joining us. She is 9. She's doing a fantastic job. You having fun?
Yes, the best time.
Thank you for coming in today.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the biggest stories of 2023. I got a text here from a first-time texter, 9734. He said the biggest story is the border cover-up. The Texas National Guard locked the gates, and the Border Patrol immediately unlocked them. Is it a cover-up what's happening on the border?
I don't know. It seems pretty out in the open for me.
I feel like maybe you could go with like media blackout.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you could do full cover-up.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody's going out of their way to explicitly just like, cover it up. I don't know how
you can cover it up.
Yeah, it's such a big wall.
Well, and one of the shocking things for me is, I mean, you haven't been here for a couple of days. Maybe you heard me talk about it. Coming back from the Phoenix airport from AmFest over the weekend, the amount of illegal aliens that were on the plane.
Oh, really?
Was shocking.
Wow.
They were on everybody's planes. So it was a bad day for the Phoenix airport to be sending illegal aliens to the airport because they had, hundreds of conservatives flying through the airport. Everybody from James O'Keefe to Ashley Sinclair and more were covering this in real time. And as we're all going through the airport, that's all anybody can really see is that there's tons of illegal aliens. And we're all kind of talking amongst ourselves and going, you can tell who's Hispanic and who's an illegal alien because they have a Ziploc bag with their processing paperwork from the border processing centers.
Wow.
They had their own special security clearance lines.
I don't know. It's almost just shining a spotlight on them to point it out to everybody.
It's insane.
That is wild.
Now, we talked about this a little bit, but there's been some updates to the illegal aliens story at the airport. This is from the Post Millennial. They basically cover what Ashley St. Clair and James O'Keefe, formerly of Project Veritas, now from O'Keefe Media Group, they held a public Twitter Spaces on Wednesday night during which airline industry insiders and pilots shared their concerns and information about what's going on with the illegal aliens on these flights. Now, illegal immigrants that have been apprehended by border agents are being transported via commercial airliners, and they are not subject to the same vetting practices as other passengers. Now, we've heard about ghost flights of unaccompanied minors facilitated by the Biden administration. We had some of those flights, I think, land in Chattanooga. But this new way is just blatant and out in the open, and we all saw it firsthand in Phoenix. Ashley St. Clair and James O'Keefe talked about this during a Twitter Spaces Wednesday night, and they had these insiders from the industry, the airline industry, and pilots sharing their concerns. And about 10,000 people tuned in, and pilots were talking about what's happening. One pilot was asked, can you give passengers assurance that these illegal aliens boarding these flights have had proper criminal and medical screenings? And the answer was no. They cannot give that assurance, which is shocking. Now, St. Clair noticed what all of us noticed, illegal aliens carrying nothing but the bags provided by the processing centers, including free cell phones courtesy of the Biden administration. Now, she brought up those concerns to Delta, and, they basically, the ticket agent said Delta said she was just trying to intimidate them. The illegal aliens come aboard with nothing but what they've been given by border agents, and it turns out that many of them have no identification at all. In fact, Ashley St. Clair tweeted just yesterday that she's in possession of legitimate major airline boarding passes for illegal aliens that quite literally have the name printed as no name given. That's what it says on the boarding pass. No name given. Pilots also revealed that these illegal aliens are not subject to the same security screenings as commercial passengers, which I saw firsthand. They have their own line, and they just get walked through. They don't undergo health screenings. Many of them are unaccompanied minors. These tickets are paid for by the government, and they are not vetted. It's crazy. And it's all the airlines. It's all of them. Delta, American, United, Southwest, all the airlines. have been named as those who transport illegal aliens without properly vetting these individuals. One pilot spoke under a pseudonym and did not disclose the carrier he flies for, saying one of the most concerning things that's really come out of this is the amount of unaccompanied minors that are being flown around the country with what seems to be little oversight. And he said that it's been for the past year, and it's been increasing in intensity. As recently as a few days ago, we had, I think, 5 or 6 unaccompanied minors that were illegal aliens being flown across the country. It was from Phoenix, where we picked them up, and they were going to Charlotte, North Carolina. And this migration's happening all over the country. They're not just being flown to New York. They're not just being flown to Chicago. They're being flown to various cities. And not just flown, but also bussed around the country. We played audio yesterday from James O'Keefe, where he ran up on one of those bus drivers from Jet Limousine. The guy wouldn't say where he picked him up. He wouldn't say who was paying for it. But that just means he probably picked him up at a border processing center, and you and I are paying for it. He said he speaks to numerous other pilots, and all these other pilots see the same thing. You see these people in the airports. It's not unusual to have, several of them at least on a plane, especially when you're departing the Southwest, especially flying into different parts of the country. The border is the biggest story of the year, and what happened in the Phoenix airport is absolutely alarming. But a pilot chimed in and said what's really alarming is that in large amounts, the people that are coming across, the people we're seeing are actually, fighting age males. You're not seeing families. I've seen very few women and children, but largely it's, males in their 20s and 30s. And then Ashley St. Clair was interested in what information the pilots are given about the illegal aliens who fly across the country. And he said, we know the screening practices really aren't up to par with what even other passengers go through. He said that when they spoke to another pilot who witnessed individuals being put on planes after being removed from handcuffs just a few minutes ago. He goes, I got off the phone with the captain in another major airline, and he's talking about deportees that he was taking back to, I believe it was Colombia, where they actually show up to the aircraft in handcuffs. And then they are uncuffed. Then they uncuff these folks, They don't know who they are. They sit them down in regular seats. There's no escorts, no one there to keep an eye on them and make sure they don't cause trouble. It's alarming, but it's happening. And I think what's happening at the border, what happened at the Phoenix airport is absolutely one of the biggest stories of 2023. And this story about the Phoenix airport would have never happened without Turning Point USA's America Fest, without that many conservatives in one airport paying attention and realizing and talking amongst ourselves and seeing what was going on. Kudos to Ashley St. Clair, James O'Keefe. I think it was, what was the other guy's name? Taylor Hansen with Tenet Media. All these guys were filming and doing all this in the airport. I asked a TSA agent when I saw the special line for illegal aliens. I said, is that the illegal alien line? Those illegal aliens? He looked at me, smiled, laughed. He said, you said it, not me. Makes sense. Let's go to Ray in Nolensville on the borders. Ray, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hi, Chris. I really appreciate you taking my call and really love the fact that you're here in Nashville with WTN.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
No, absolutely. As a fan of your predecessor, but, man, you are doing it. You're knocking it out of the park. And love listening to you every morning. And your wonderful daughter.
Oh, thank you.
It's great. I have 3 daughters, so I get it, man.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad she's there with you. You betcha. My deal is the border, like you just mentioned. A country without borders is not a country. And what has happened in the last 3 years is heartbreaking for me, and what America has become. And I just think we have to find a way to stop this. And if we're going to keep the country that I grew up in and love, we have to find a way to stop it.
I mean, the thing that's most frustrating to me is that it could probably be stopped in like 2 days. If they really wanted to do it, they could stop it in 2 days. You reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, and you deploy troops to the border. It's over.
Exactly. And if Biden could have been a hero the day he took office, if he did nothing.
Yeah.
Just left everything the way it was. But, of course, with his TDS, severe TDS, he had to change everything that was working for America. So,
Well, and he didn't just, it wasn't like he just pulled policies off the table. Like, he sold the steel that was there waiting
Yep.
to finish building the border wall. He sold it. Like, they're actively doing this. This is not a mistake. This is not bad policy. This is the plan.
exactly. And he has open borders for a reason. And it like I just said, it has to stop.
Yep.
But I appreciate you, man.
Hey,
Thank you.
I appreciate you too. Thanks for calling in. You know, I had the opportunity to talk to Tom Homan from former ICE director, who's now with Border 911, and it's like, you know, the thing he's worried about is the danger that comes with all these people coming across the border, because there's two amounts you pay to coyotes if you're sneaking across the border, because that's who's facilitating all this on the other side, are the coyotes. So I'm speaking with the former ICE director, and he tells me there's two amounts you pay. You pay one amount if you want to be apprehended by Border Patrol. You pay a larger amount if you don't want to get caught. So for everyone that wants to get caught, that's one thing. But what about the people that didn't want to get caught? Who are they? Where are they? And why didn't they want to get caught? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. We're talking about the biggest stories from 2023. I think that the border is one of the biggest stories, if not the biggest. And it's like, it has been such a crazy year that I think that you can make a legitimate argument for so many different stories being the biggest. Is the border the biggest? Is Trump being kicked off the ballot the biggest? Is Hunter Biden being indicted the biggest? Is Trump being indicted the biggest? Is the Chinese spy balloon the biggest? There's so many big stories. What would you vote for as the biggest story, Mason?
I'm not entirely sure. One of the big ones that I saw here in the chat line on the Super Talk TV was a pretty big story is that Chris Hand is not Canadian.
Yes.
I thought that was pretty important.
Yes, I'm not Canadian. I got a text here from 5410. It says, I still think Chris has dual Canadian citizenship. Guys, I'm not Canadian, I promise. I promise.
He was born in Boston. Okay?
Thank you.
Get it through your head.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's because I say out weird.
Out?
Yeah, I say out. They say I say out and about weird.
I say it weird too.
Yeah, you do. Let's go to Cameron, who's driving. He wants to talk about freedom. Cameron, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, man? Hey, Cameron, you're next. All right, Cameron's not there. That's okay.
Hello.
Oh, Cameron, let's go back to Cameron. I think she said, hey, Cameron, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, what's going on? You're on the Chris Hand Show.
Well, I wanted to call and congratulate your daughter for her having another birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I want to say that I accepted Christ in my heart at that age. And now I'm going to have another birthday by His grace. The 24th of this month, I'm going to be 75 years old. And He's been the best thing that ever happened to me and my family. And my husband and I will be married 55 years the same day.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But I want to say that I'm so disappointed in our government for trying to degrade our Savior, first of all, and our freedom that we have, our ancestors and my family and your family has fought for all of these years. And so many people are taking it lightly. But there's no excuse for them allowing the government to do this, and Biden never gets impeached, for all of this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I will lean on the side of positivity, Cameron. Pendulums, they tend to swing. And just because the pendulum is swinging the other way right now doesn't mean it's not swinging the other way soon to come. And the most rebellious thing you can do in this country right now is be a conservative, have a family, and believe in Jesus. And, the younger generation, they will rebel. And that's what the rebellion will look like, being conservative, loving Jesus, and having a family. And I think that we can all take a little hope in that.
Yes, sir. I'll agree with you on that one. And I just want to say that I am proud of what Americans are standing for the right thing.
Amen.
Because we've got to stand. You know,
Yes,
God
ma'am.
said, if we can't do anything, just stand.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. And thank you so much. Have the best Christmas. God bless you, Cameron.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Appreciate you. It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're going to be back here momentarily with more of, is it the Kennedy Hand Show now?
Yes.
All right, we'll be back next with more of the Kennedy Hand Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I love the state of Tennessee. I love everything about it, and I love hunting and fishing in the state of Tennessee, and what you guys do is so great. I was born and raised here, and this song is for Tennessee and everybody in it. Well, I have roamed across the land, and I have sailed deepest sea. When I've drawn my last breath, do this one thing for me. Say, won't you take me back to Tennessee, where southern streams are flowing free. Me and mine, Lord, will always be right at home in Tennessee. Right at home in the woods of Tennessee. Right at home in Tennessee. Awesome.
Big traffic problem in Rutherford County. Looks like 24 westbound is closed there in Murfreesboro. This is going to be between Medical Center Parkway and the I-840 exit. And a mysterious death investigation in Nashville. These stories and more coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Kennedy Hand Show.
Yes. The show has been, there's been a mutiny in here. My daughter has taken over the show.
Yes.
So we're hanging out. School's out. School's out for Christmas break. Are you excited about that?
Mm-hmm, but I love my teacher.
You do love your teacher. Do you want to say hi to her?
Hi, Mrs. McMurray.
We have a good group of teachers out there. Do you want to say hi to any of your friends?
Hi, Abby Kate. Hi, Ellie Brannon, for listening.
I don't know if their parents will let them listen to my show.
Oh, that's
Like,
too bad.
You know how mom says that the other guys are inappropriate for everybody to listen to?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you other people's parents feel the same way about me.
That's sad.
I'm sorry. I'm just being.
Because this is now the Kennedy Hand Show, not the Chris Hand Show.
We've been a little bit more appropriate today, I feel like. Yes. We've been trying at least to be appropriate.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. We're talking about the biggest stories of the year in 2023. What do you think is the biggest story of the year in 2023? I'll tell you what. Hunter Biden, son of President Biden, being indicted on federal gun charges. Big deal. That's a big story.
Very.
The national debt rising to $33 trillion. That's a big deal.
Very.
Senator Bob Menendez, Gold Bar Bob, being bribed with gold bars. Is that a big story?
Very.
Very. What do you think is the biggest story of 2023, Kennedy?
I have to say the illegal alien invasion. That was beyond.
It's beyond the pale.
Yeah.
What about the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce relationship? Do you know anything about that?
No. Well, I mean, like,
I love that answer.
Yeah.
She said no.
No, but I'll learn.
Taylor Swift did have some big news over the year. First tour to gross over $1 billion.
Oh my gosh.
$1 billion. Yeah, it's a big deal. And I do want to say thank you again to Charlie, our ops manager, for becoming the coolest guy at the radio station. 10 minutes into me bringing my daughter in. What did Charlie, our ops manager, give you today?
Okay, so we were walking by his office, and I saw his Taylor Swift Christmas card that he got this year, and it was signed and everything, and I asked to hold it. And he was like, take it. And I was like, okay. And now
she didn't second guess it. She just, yes, sir.
I was like, okay. And it was signed and everything.
That's a pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing. Charlie is a good guy for doing that. What do you think is the biggest story of the year? 615-737-9986. Let's go to Andy in Mount Juliet. You're next on the Chris Hand Show on Super Talk. What's the biggest story of the year, Andy?
Chris, this is the first time I've talked to you, but I love your show, man.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for listening.
And Kennedy,
Yes, sir.
you are the bomb.
Thank you so much.
I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter. She got as much personality as you got, and I love it. Every one of y'all need to look out because she's got a job.
Oh, I know it. I know
At
it.
9 years old, she's got a job.
Everybody's texting saying that we need to get her a Saturday show or something.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yeah, or bring her in every time she's out of school, please.
Yes, sir. I think that's a good plan.
Let's do it.
Can she take care of her brothers good enough?
Mm-hmm. Very well.
I thought so. But my biggest story is what the Supreme Court done in Colorado.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's nothing good about that. And it's just going to open a can of worms and make everything worse.
Yeah. Well, when the indictments didn't work and his polling went up, they had to do something. And, Joe Biden already said that they would try to stop him by any means necessary, constitutionally. So we knew this was coming.
Yes, sir. I agree. But I didn't think it'd come from Colorado. I know they're blue, but I figured it'd be California.
Yeah. Well, California's looking to do the same thing, as is Maine. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. Hey, thanks for the call, Andy. We really appreciate you.
All right. Kennedy, I've really enjoyed you today.
Thank you so much.
You have a Merry Christmas, sweetheart.
You too.
All right. It's 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Now that you've gotten the swing of things, do you know what we do on the 30s? Where do we go next?
Ken Weaver.
Ken Weaver with the news on Super Talk.
$11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Right now, we have westbound 24 shut down in Murfreesboro. Going to be between Old Fort Parkway and Medical Center Parkway. You got a crash there. That is 24 westbound shut down in Murfreesboro. Right now in Nashville, a mysterious shooting and crash that left a man dead. Police say a man driving a pickup lost control on Brick Church Pike, then crashed into a Taco Bell sign, went down the embankment into the parking lot. The driver was dead. Investigators say he may have been the victim of a shooting. United Nations Security Council just passed a Gaza resolution calling for getting aid to Palestinians faster, but it stopped short of calling for a ceasefire. And in our nation's capital, the White House says President Biden and his Mexican counterpart spoke yesterday about ongoing efforts to manage the flow of illegal immigration. National Security Council official John Kirby says the president's asking Secretary of State Antony Blinken and other administration officials to go to Mexico in the coming days to meet personally with President Lopez Obrador. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
For many of us, generators are becoming a must-have household appliance. From unpredictable weather to surprise outages, it's better to be safe than sorry. Generator Supercenter of Nashville offers fast and easy installations with 24/7 service and monitoring to all brands of generators and expert repairs done right. Our mission is to make owning a backup generator simple and easy. Visit your local store today or check us out online. Generator Supercenter of Nashville. We serve all Middle Tennessee.
It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN, the Kennedy Hand Show.
You're not going to introduce your co-host?
And my co-host is Chris Hand.
Oh, thank you. Hope you're having a fantastic day as you're heading wherever you are heading. Getting your holiday travel done, maybe getting your shopping done. It's 11:35 on Super Talk. Joined in studio by my beautiful daughter, Kennedy, who has a birthday here in 5 days.
Whoop, whoop.
You go from 9 to 10, double digits. Here you come. It's exciting. And we're taking your calls on what the biggest stories are from 2023. Where do you want to go first, Kennedy?
Okay, let's go to Troy, line 6.
I would like to congratulate you, Chris, on raising such a young lady who I think is probably the biggest thing going on right now with all the bad things in the world going on. Hearing that we have a young lady that can stand there and participate in your conversations. She believes in God. She's rattling off all the answers. You should be very proud of her.
I am. Thank you for the call, Troy. I really appreciate that.
She believes.
Oh, did we lose Troy?
Yeah, I think so. He just kind of dropped there.
Well, thank you, Troy, for the call. We appreciate you.
Okay, let's go to Chris in Nashville.
Hey, Chris,
Hey,
you're
how
next
y'all
on
doing?
Super Talk.
Thanks. Hey, Kennedy, you're rocking it.
Thank you so much.
Everyone in the studio needs to be worried about their job. I think you'll take it over.
Yeah, she's doing a great job.
She is, actually. She is. She's responsive. She's getting right on it. That's good.
What do you think is the
Hey,
biggest story of 2023, Chris?
Actually, I don't think anyone's talking about it. You touched on it a couple minutes ago about like selling the panels down in at the border.
Yes.
For that to happen, that's an executive order.
Yep.
So when the government purchases something, it sits there. That becomes surplus and owned by the government. And the only way to get rid of it is to have an executive order to release it. So, I mean, that's just undermining our sovereign right to protect our country. And what Texas and some of the other states are hopefully they're starting to realize, just because it says United States of America, each state is its own country. They can do whatever they want. And then our governors need to start standing up to our local government in Washington, D.C. and say enough is enough.
Yeah, I mean, the governors definitely need to start stepping up. I mean, people say they're sending the National Guard in. Oh, Florida's sending the National Guard, Tennessee's sending the National Guard, but they send them to process paperwork. They're sending them to basically allow more illegal aliens into the country.
Right, and they don't need to do that. They can literally make a wall of people and stop them from coming in.
Like I said it earlier. I mean, if they were really serious about this, if the federal government was really serious about this problem, 2 days. I feel like it could be fixed in 2 days.
Oh, exactly. You take the funds, leave the funds, and let the paper pushers do what they want, but stop everyone from coming in. There's no more paper to be pushed.
Amen. I'm with
no one
you.
to process if they're not here.
I'm so with you. Thanks for the call, Chris. Really appreciate you, man. Have a great Christmas.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
All right. Where are we going next, Kennedy?
Let's go with Matt, line 4.
Hey, Matt, you're next on the Kennedy Hand Show. What's up, Matt?
Hey, Chris, your daughter rocks.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, had a girl. Here's the deal, and I don't think it's been spoken of, and I know it's on tape. When Joe Biden said on national TV, well, that I don't think a small incursion into Ukraine would be a problem.
Yep.
$30 billion later.
Yeah.
That needs to be a huge issue.
Yeah. It's like, we're slow walking towards World War III with all this stuff.
The guy said, well, small incursion's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Get it on tape and play it often, bud.
Yep. I know. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the call. Where are we going next, Kennedy?
Let's go with Mike, line 3.
Hey, Mike, you're next. What's going on, man? You're on Super Talk.
Hey, thanks for getting me on. The border is the biggest deal. We got tons of people crossing, and it's a threat to America.
Yep. I don't know if there's a bigger story than that. I think you're absolutely right, Mike. It's been...
I'd just like to close out with a quote from Teddy Roosevelt. Patriotic is being proud of your country, not of your government. I just love that.
Amen.
Merry Christmas.
Amen. Merry Christmas, Mike. We appreciate you. Let's go to Cedric in Kentucky real quick. Cedric, you're next on the Chris Hand Show. What's up, Cedric?
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good. How are you, Cedric?
Good. The biggest story that I've seen, I'll be 65 in March of next year, and I have simply just seen, well, I just had a question, really, and that's when will we be able to accomplish something in the United States of America and get some stuff done? I mean, we got the Congress and the Senate, just a constant fight, spending millions of dollars, on investigations and fighting each other, and nothing's getting done to progress America further. I just can't comprehend that. That's the biggest story that I have seen. Nothing has been accomplished that I have seen. I mean, as far as, pushing us forward.
No, I think you're right. But me and you may tend to disagree on who's holding us back.
Oh, no. We're not going to disagree on. No, we're not going to disagree on that. I'll call Ace, a spade a spade, as it is. And I mean, we just need to, they just need to get together and get something done. But maybe next year things will change. But I don't know, Chris. I mean, with 6 million immigrants here, and they're getting IDs to, basically be able to get a temporary citizenship, it may be a problem there. So,
yep, it's definitely a problem, and it's like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, Cedric.
Yep, it sure is.
Hey.
Well, I tell you, it's good talking to you, and I tell you, your daughter is really a blessing, Kennedy. She really is.
Amen to
just a
that.
man myself, like I said, and I can tell that you raised her up right. Keep her in that church and keep her in God's will, and I pray that God will dispatch a band of angels around you and your family as y'all travel and go to your other family, and y'all be blessed.
Thank you, Cedric. We really appreciate you, man. God bless you.
God bless you.
Okay, let's go to Corey, line 1.
Yeah, Corey wants to talk Christmas movies. Corey, what's an underrated Christmas movie?
Well, I just want to say you made my day when you gave the spoiler alert of the refs. I was laughing so hard I almost caused a wreck. I'm not even joking about that because I agree 100%. But another one I want to shoot out there was Frosty the Snowman, the animated version.
Yes,
original one would be another one to add to. And to Cedric's point, if I may, I would say part of that problem is the media not being true media.
Yeah.
If it was less opinions versus facts in that being distributed out to the public, that would be a 500 times fold difference or 1,000 times fold difference. And that to me is the most underrated talked about topic is how dishonest, but everybody, when you go to parties, talking to somebody at Walmart or something like that, you'll be like, oh, the media, yeah, everybody knows they lie. And it's still the same though. It is beyond me how that happens.
I feel you on it's like it's still the same, but I think it's important to point out people noticing it isn't the same. If you had those same conversations with people 5-10 years ago, people would look at you like you have 3 heads if you said the media is lying all the time. Now it's so blatant, you're seeing a majority of Americans believing that the media lies to them.
Yeah, correct. But to your point, like also how many people you know and how many channels are out there are just getting raw reactions of people. The newest one by PragerU about the term racism. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen that one, but I do like PragerU.
Okay, so they're in California. I can't remember which liberal one in California they're at, and they talk about looking at just headlines and just getting a raw reaction from 19, 20-year-old kids in California at a very liberal school. It escapes my mind, but
it's like UCLA or something, Berkeley.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, where Ben Shapiro went actually. Yeah, So they're just like, and what they say, like how pumpkin spice is racist and all those ridiculous ones like that, they're just like, this is crazy. But at the end of it, they will still say it still exists to the point of the media's claim of how important, or how not important, but how relevant and how frequent it is. It is beyond me that they see the stupidness or the ridiculous wokeism in the headline just on its face, but they still have the feelings of of what they're talking about in the
in the articles or the whatever it is. It to me, it's truly amazing. So like to me, it could be media getting facts out over opinions, because you can show them opinions that are completely ridiculous, but believe the opinions of how high the percentage of racism in the world is right now.
Well,
like,
it's
like true racism.
And I agree with you. It's like me and Mac played a game on the show a couple months back where you can go into Google and you can type "is blank racist," and like you can literally type in anything you want. And we laughed about it because it's so absurd. But like you go into Google and you can type "is paper racist," and the second search result, it's time to retire white paper. University Affairs. Like
Yes.
you can do it with anything. You can do it literally with any item,
Anything.
anything. You know, are roads racist? You'll yield results. To your point, that there is that media bias. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
It creates a living bot for the ethos.
Yep.
Like a living, breathing bot that puts out stuff or puts stuff out in the ethos of the social media for sure.
Yeah.
But Kennedy, I didn't get the chance to talk to you when I called in, but I have enjoyed your company along the road today.
Oh, thank you so much.
My pleasure. I have a 9-year-old turning 10 on January 1, so we're right around that same area, my dear.
Oh, perfect.
Well, tell her
Right on.
tell her we said happy birthday.
I will. I appreciate it, and y'all have a blessed day.
You too. God bless.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, let's go to Rick.
Rich.
Sorry.
Rich in the Borough. You're next on Super Talk. What's up, Rich?
Hey, I just love that you have your daughter on. My wife's father was a rock and roll DJ, and in the 70s would take her into the station, and that made so many great memories. And only saying she did rebel against that, she became a conservative Christian. So it all ended up okay.
Hey, that's the new rebellion, right?
It is. We're the new punk rock, and it's awesome.
Yep.
So 30,000-foot view of the big story of the year is the unequal enforcement of the rule of law, which is a bedrock principle of our republic that is being intentionally eroded. That's why we see illegals getting on planes without all the identification. They're treated different under the law than us. We see the segregated Christmas parties in Boston where we're going to completely wipe the slate of integration and no discrimination and no segregation and say, well, no, now it's okay. And that erosion is a very big problem. The expressions of it we see, but the problem itself of that erosion is going to significantly degrade our republic, our freedoms. We have to have that equal treatment under the law, and it's being used intentionally as a weapon to push agendas that need to be stopped.
Yeah, I agree with just about everything you said, man. I don't know how I could say it any better. When you zoom out, that is the biggest issue. I love it, man. Thanks for the call, Rich. We really appreciate you. Where are we going next, Kennedy?
Let's go to Guy, line 6.
Yeah, let's go to Guy on line 6. Guy, you're next on the Chris Hand Show. What's up?
Hey, guys, how are y'all doing this morning? Afternoon, I guess it is now.
Yeah, how we doing?
Good. Dude, I was on Instagram the other night, and I saw Tim Kennedy posted something about this Chinese space thing that has now appeared to drop some satellites from it. And now it's even being reported that this Chinese secret space plane is emitting strong signals to the ground over North America. And they believe that this is an article from Interesting Engineering, says China's latest Shenlong mission has been detected signaling a clandestine ground station or ship off the west coast of North America. I don't know if you've heard about this yet.
I haven't heard that story, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, we know that the Chinese have police stations in our country. Like, would any of this be surprising at all?
No, not at all. I just want to know what the Space Force is going to do about it. I mean, DOD, like, they're obviously trying to signal something. They're obviously trying to start something. We got Taiwan. I mean, it was just said yesterday. What are they waiting for? They know that Biden's coming up for re-election. You know, the election's coming up in 24. So the premier opportunity would be now, right?
Oh, yeah. It wouldn't shock me if something happened as close as Christmas. You know what I mean? While everybody's kind of like not paying attention over the holidays.
It's time to keep the powder dry, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to look into that space station story. I think that is fascinating. Thanks for sharing that with me, Guy.
All right, guys. Y'all have a Merry Christmas. Kennedy, be
You
safe.
too.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Okay, let's go to Robert, line 1.
Hey, Robert, you're next on the Chris Hand Show. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This is actually a little bit for Kennedy. Now, I have a daughter as well, and she's probably 5 weeks older than you are.
Mm-hmm.
So she just turned 10 last month. So happy birthday a couple days early. Your birthday is the same day as my niece's, the 27th. Now,
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I understand from Chris that you were his best birthday Christmas present ever. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it so happens that my father's birthday is actually Christmas Day as well. So we have 2 birthdays within 2 days of each other. So Christmas is a big deal for us. I have a question, Kennedy. Does your dad get you a Christmas present?
Yes.
Does he get you a Christmas card to go with that present?
Yes.
Does he get you a birthday card that is separate from your Christmas card?
Yes.
And he gets you a birthday present which is separate from your Christmas present, correct?
Yes.
Then I would probably say you have the best dad ever right there. Merry Christmas to you guys both while you go through that, and I make sure my niece and my father both get separate Christmas and birthday presents and cards. So Merry Christmas to you guys both. That's real close to my heart. Have a great day, guys.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Thanks for the call. It is 11:52 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at Paul Winkler Inc. As you've been hearing today, I have a wonderful daughter. I also have 3 other wonderful kids, and my wife and I, we needed a financial plan for the future. Because as we look to the future, hopefully I'm paying for a wedding for this wonderful girl, but how am I going to pay for it if I don't have my financial orders in order? Well, I didn't have them in order, and I do now because I linked up with Paul and his team. Now, Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required, and because of that, the government regulators require that I tell you I'm paid every time this commercial airs. That's the truth. But that's not why I'm a client of Paul's. I'm a client because when I finally got to sit down with Paul, break bread, and have my questions answered in a way that I could tell was honest, I decided I'm in. I'm impressed. Paul's a smart guy. He knows the financial world better than I do. And with Paul and his team, nothing is done on commission. That's huge to me because I know whatever financial advice they give me is for me and not for them because nothing is done on commission. Plus, Paul and his teams, they are big on education, and I need that education. The education they provide is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So if you don't have a financial plan, you should get one by checking out Paul Winkler Inc. Every office is run by a degree planner with over 20 years of experience, and you can feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest. That experience equals confidence. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members. You can set up a complimentary 15-minute phone call right now on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com or call 615-851-1950.
If you have a 401k at work, chances are you've seen something called a target date fund. Now, the idea behind a target date fund is if you're going to retire in a specific year, let's say 2030, all you do is put all your money in that fund and you don't even have to think about it. Set it and forget it is the idea. Now, one of the things that I warn people about regarding these types of funds is many times they're not nearly as diversified as you think. When we look at investing, when we look at diversification, we want to own really small companies, really large companies, really growth-oriented, really value-oriented companies, and diversify between these different market areas. Target date funds tend to focus more attention down here for a really basic reason. It sells better. Because you're investing in very big, well-known U.S. companies, what happens is investors tend to like to look like the market, as we say. And the problem, though, is when we do that, is we can go very long periods of time. 1966 through 1982 is one example. More recently, 2000 through 2012, where large U.S. stocks had no return, where other market segments actually did quite well. So one of the things that happens is when we invest in a target date fund, we may be overly concentrated and have more risk than we really realize. So if you want to learn more about our approach to investing and financial planning and how we educate investors, go to paulwinkler.com and set up a free 15-minute phone call, or you can call 615-851-1950.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 11:56. Chris Hand joined in studio by my wonderful daughter Kennedy Hand. Hello, Kennedy.
Hello.
And Kennedy, so we had one more caller on the line before we get out of here, and she was like, "We can't let him hang up, Dad. We got to talk to Jeff in Cookeville." So Jeff in Cookeville, you're next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, Chris. I just want to say your daughter's confidence on the radio is impressive. I know you're proud.
Yeah, I'm very proud of her.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yep. Hey, I just wanted to point out maybe a big story coming. Trump's planning to fix all this. My analogy for it is if I left my 3-year-old and my 10-month-old daughter in the house with a bunch of open cans left for 4 hours, like a 40-year term, Trump comes in and says, "Go ahead, make a mess. I'll come in and fix it." So I think the guy's impressive for taking on that challenge, and that's why I love him. He's tenacious.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get it right. But he's got a lot to do, a whole lot to do.
Oh, the list is long, my friend. The list is long. Hey, appreciate the call, Jeff. Thank you so much. Now, we're getting out of here. I'm not going to be back on the air until January 2nd. I'm so excited. I love everybody that listens, and I thank you guys for listening to the Chris Hand Show. I hope that you guys have a fantastic Christmas. What are you excited about the most for Christmas, Kennedy?
I'm excited to see my family and celebrate Jesus' birth.
Amen. That's what it's all about, and that's what we're doing. So we're excited to get out of here. We're excited to do that, and we're going to be, jumping in the car and rolling.
Whoop whoop.
Are you hype? Yeah, we're pretty hype. A lot of people say that you need your own show, and that they're going to email Dan Mandis about it.
Oh, let's go.
All right, Kennedy wants to close out the show today with a prayer, and we're gonna pray over everybody in Nashville, everybody traveling, and Kennedy's gonna close us out with that, and then we're gonna wish you guys a Merry Christmas, and we're coasting. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, hit it.
Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for everything that you have given us. Thank you for our past, our present, and our future. I hope that America has a great Christmas, and that everybody that is traveling, you will just keep them safe. And anybody that is sick or hurt, that you will heal them. And Lord, so we pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kennedy. We got so much to do in 2024, and I'm so excited that I get to do it with you. And I'm so excited, Kennedy, that you will be along for the ride.
Yes.
So thank you for allowing me onto your radio this year. It has been a blessing that I cannot explain in words. I honestly can't. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. Have a very, very wonderful Christmas celebrating the birth of Jesus. Until next time, have a great day. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Merry Christmas.
Good afternoon. It is high noon, and I'm Jay Harper. First of all, that accident out in Murfreesboro on I-24 that's headed into Nashville there at Medical Center Parkway. The wreck's been cleared, but the shoulder's still blocked. The residual backup still quite the mess. So just wanted to keep you abreast of that. We've also got quite a bit of traffic, as you would well imagine, around the airport, as well as around local shopping centers. It is 53 degrees. We've got some sunshine. Here are your top stories. We'll get to that forecast here in just a minute. Law enforcement in the United States on alert for a heightened threat environment, reporting a disturbing rise in terror threats this holiday season. The threats say that although there is really nothing specific, anything can happen at any time because this is such a high-profile time of year. It gets a lot of people and a lot of coverage on TV. Remember last year at this time, it really didn't take all that much. It was a guy from Maine that attacked a couple of NYPD cops working a checkpoint on 8th Avenue, and that's the kind of thing that folks are talking about. It really doesn't have to be large scale, so authorities are indeed on high alert. State police across the nation are preparing for busy holiday travel. Drivers reminded to watch their speed, put their phones down, and avoid that distracted driving. More than 2.5 million more people traveling on the roads this year versus last year. Now, experts say the best way to avoid some of that heavy traffic is to head out before noon And you could say that there is some good news in that gas prices are not quite what they once were. So, again, what is the best and worst times to leave for holiday travel? Here's ABC's Alex Prichet in Columbus, Ohio, with some advice.
Tomorrow, the 23rd and the 28th, it's going to be really rough. The busiest times expected on the roads. The 30th is also going to be kind of tough. But if you're trying to get a jump on some of this holiday roadway traffic, AAA says that leaving around lunchtime and then also 7 p.m. are probably your best bet.
That is the latest news. We've got weather on the way. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.